Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday Brew Crew podcast. I am Wade. This is Tanner. This is Tyler, and we have a very special guest for you today. His name is Patrick. He is in the car scene, and he is a professional bodybuilder and a fish salesman.
Yeah, fish salesman.
Yeah. I knew that about you, but I didn't know that about you.
It's been expanding.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wonderful.
How many fish tanks do you have?
26.
26 fish.
How many fish do you think you have in that whole thing?
Thousands?
Thousands? Yeah.
People ask like, do you name your fish?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, right.
I name now, granted, I have a saltwater tank, right? And my saltwater tank, I do name my fish. I have like Jaquan. I have seahorses in there.
Yep.
So I have seahorses and they all have like very proper names like Timothy the Third and Bartholomew.
Okay.
I named those.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So I have like the real black side, Jaquan. He's like a black and white striped fish, and seahorses are all
Oh,
proper.
yeah.
And then I think my neighbor came over and named him some like random Japanese names that I can never remember. So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah.
I was actually for a while, and I think I'm still gonna pull the trigger on it. I want to get a jelly tank.
I want to
Ooh.
so I want to do a jellyfish tank as well. Do like they make like these 20 something gallon talls. They're just super tall and skinny, and because like seahorses, for instance, when people come in my house, they're like, "Bro, I've never seen a seahorse in a tank before. That's
Yeah.
wild." And then I tell them something like, they have blowholes. They don't have stomachs, and they're like,
Wait, what?
"Yeah." So you feed them, and you'll feed them. They're like whales. So when you feed them, all of a sudden you'll see them just spit out like their food after they eat it. And then
What?
Really?
yeah. Look up videos of seahorses.
Huh. So a funny story, actually. My mother, when she was growing up, her sister, who now works for SeaWorld, ironically enough, she had several seahorses in the tank, and my mother was dying to get a saltwater puffer, and so she got a puffer and didn't realize that the specific breed of puffer that she got was actually super aggressive, and pufferfish basically eat whatever the fuck
Oh,
they
yeah.
want.
They'll chow down.
Yeah, and it killed all but one of the seahorses that my mom's sister had.
You said so she threw a puffer fish in with seahorses.
Yes.
That's an expensive lesson.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, and so
How much are pufferfish?
It's not the puffer fish. It's the
It's
fucking
the seahorses.
seahorses.
How much are the seahorses?
Like $60 to $100 a piece.
Yeah, good. So that pufferfish
Oh.
ate a really high-end meal.
It went to Bonefish Grill.
Yeah, I was gonna say he basically went to
No shit.
a steakhouse, and so she had all these fish and everything, and my mom ended up having to rehome the puffer, but you can't like just handle a puffer, because they are venomous.
They puff.
Yeah, and they inflate.
Well, they don't really puff up. I mean, some do, but realistically, like I'd say 95% of puffer fish are never going to puff up.
Really?
Really.
Okay, I didn't know that, but she had this venomous puffer fish that they couldn't handle, so somebody had to come and get the fish. My mom had to work to rebuy the fucking seahorses. So, like you said, expensive lesson, and I had no idea like people actually kept those. Like I said, I want to keep jellyfish, and from what I've read online, they're very difficult to keep if you don't have the proper setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a lot of learning lessons and cost myself hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
Because people.
beta fish.
People.
A beta
I
fish.
bought it at Walmart. It's one of those that's like
It was $6.
I did have that was my first fish. I had a beta fish when I was like 10, and I called him Harry because I was a Harry Potter fan, and I used to like pet him in the tank.
You should have gave him a scar on his forehead.
Wow, you're real dark about this.
I've been dark today.
Yeah,
Harry
and it's funny because
You should have gave him a scar.
yeah, it's funny. Every time I hear somebody talk about fish, and it's just like the blatant mistreatment of betas specifically, because like you can walk into Walmart right now, if there's a fish section, they have these beta fish in these tubs, and I imagine that those beta fish in those tubs are looked down upon by the rest of the fish community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're kind of like the dregs of society.
But even when you're breeding, you kind of have to put them in little cups like that, and you have to separate them out. And they do fine because, believe it or not, beta fish grow up in ponds.
Yeah,
Like little, not ponds, like big
yeah,
ponds,
little,
like
like, yeah.
little puddles. Actually, let me
Mhm.
say puddles.
Mhm.
So a lot of people think that beta fish can't be kept with other fish, but believe it or not, you can keep.
So they really do grow in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And I know like now they breed them out and you can get specific like morphs, so to speak, of different kind of like They have different ways their fins are shaped, different
Oh,
flows
yeah,
of
yeah.
fins. and
My favorite
everything.
is an alien beta. If you ever look at it, it looks like just wild. It's really cool.
Really
Alien beta.
Something I'm gonna have to look into.
I'm about to check that
Yeah,
out.
pull that out. And then that brings me to another point. Wade said, part of the car scene. The builds. What are all of the builds?
So
I still have questions about the fish. We're gonna get back to it though. But go ahead.
Okay. So build wise, I have
Oh,
a.
shit. Alien beta looks
Yep, they're pretty cool, aren't they?
cool. Yeah.
Oh, check that out.
It's dope as fuck.
Good luck seeing that at all. You Google it.
But so I have 3 cars right now, a mom car and then 2 sports cars. My mom car is a Kona N-Line.
Okay.
It's sweet, actually.
It's actually pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's like everything that the N edition has except for the motor.
Okay.
So it's a nice mom car.
Yeah.
It's like 35 miles a gallon all the way here. So I
Okay.
can't complain about that.
Yep.
Your shit's broken at the right time.
Yeah. Mom car that gets good fuel, and then the other car that will eat it.
Yeah. I did have the Porsche for a little bit in the crisis of terrible fuel costs. So bringing that, I have the 2007 911 997 Turbo, all yellow, with tan interior, pretty much the highest package you can get, ceramic brakes and nice leather interior. So are we going to go down the rabbit hole?
I would like to kind of what I really want as a car person is to get some insight as to like what made you want to pursue the build. Because I remember you said when you had it for like that 3-week period, once it was out of the shop, it was frightening. But I know I've been told by this man here that you were shooting for somewhere in the 1,000 range.
Yes. So the build wasn't my choice. Okay. It wasn't a choice of mine. So I bought the car back in, I want to say like July of
2020.
Yeah, maybe a little earlier than that. I'd have to.
I know it was hot.
We did the photos.
It was hot. It was hot.
It was hot. It was hot. So I got the car back then. It was a blast. I mean, we rode in it. Pretty quick car, not the fastest car ever.
It was fun,
but it was fun, and it was comfortable. It was a comfortable car. The turbos, aside from the GT3s and the GT2s, where they have like the sports seats and all that, the turbo is like luxury high-end sports car. So really nice ride, and I had a blast in it. I took it up to the Tail of the Dragon. If you've never been there, it's an experience that you have to do. And then
where's the Tail of the Dragon?
Tennessee, Pigeon Forge area.
Yeah.
So brought it up there, had a blast. My dad even drove in it. We got pulled over. It was great. You shouldn't do double the speed limit on the Tail of the Dragon, but it was
just can't help it sometimes.
Well, I think that's also out of the fact that people are crashing constantly on it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw like 3 bikes off the side of the mountain. So that was why I got pulled over, because we were pulling up doing like 50 around turns. And all you heard was it was a GT 350, a Z06, C7, just modded to all hell, Fiat 500. Don't sleep on the Fiat. Don't sleep on that Fiat. I'm chasing it with a Porsche, getting scared. I'm like, this dude's crazy.
I hear they're pretty good through corners though. When they're modded.
The wheelbase. I mean, they're just
it's basically a smart car on steroids.
Then we had a Hayabusa and something else. But we all rode up there. Just I think the best time we got is I think it's 13.1 miles is the whole road, right? And we did it in like a whole 13 minutes and 30 seconds. So we were hauling.
So you're moving.
But you don't get that every day because there's traffic and bikers and all that. But just like retrospect is in like the difference between a car and a bike, you really don't see it until you get up there. Because although we had a Hayabusa with us, like we were like a half a mile ahead of him. He could not keep up on that road.
Well, in his defense, the Busa is a lot to handle through corners.
It
really
is.
not meant for that. It's more of a touring bike.
Yes. But yeah, that was a blast. I brought it back, and I started having problems with the car when I brought it back, and like slight ticking. I thought it was like, or no, it wasn't ticking. So I had boost problems. So it was like pulling boosts. It was like tuned to 22, 23 pounds, and it was only making like 19 or 18. And so I ended up getting a check engine light for like a misfire. So I thought, spark plugs. So I replaced the spark plugs on it and the coil packs just as a precaution. That didn't work, so I brought it to Sissio Performance for them to look over it. I was pretty sure it was a boost leak or a vacuum leak at that point, but I don't have the equipment. And they were like, "Oh, it's a vacuum leak." I was like, "Okay." They plugged it in. They said it was all good to go. And on my way home, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna make sure it's all good to go, right?" So I'm doing pulls, not going red line, but I'm hauling ass. The first pull I did, I was like, "Shit, this car is a lot faster, like faster than when I bought it." Fast, and I was like, "That's wild." And it read out like 4 or 25 psi, and I was like,
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So I did it again, right? That was fun. Let's do it again. And I was like, and then it went back to 18. It was like, no, you're not going to do that again. And I was like, well, you know what the best decision to do is?
Give it the beans.
Give it the beans again.
Yeah,
I gave it the beans again, and you're like,
heart drops.
click. And me being a dumbass and just, really trying not to think about the worst thing. I'm like, oh, the exhaust bolts came off. So I pull over and call Sissio Performance, and I'm like, hey, so the car's making this really weird noise. Let me put you up. And he's like, that's not good. You should bring it back. And so I brought it back the next day. They were like, oh, it's a bearing failure. Completely annihilated the bearings. I was like, great. Yeah. I was like, great. That's awesome. How much does that cost? And they're like, well, our starter package for repairing that is like $30K. And I was like, oh, Jesus, my Lord. And I was like, well, I wanted to do all these other things to the car, not to make it like a crazy beast, but I wanted to upgrade the turbos and put it on E85 eventually. That was my plan. Make like 700. That's what everybody was making on those. So I was like, all right, how much for that? And he was like 40. And I was like, oh, I can do 40. We're building the motor anyway. Like we're ripping it apart. Might as well, So that was 40 at that time. And then after about 6 months of them having it, granted, it was supposed to take 6 months. They get back to me and tell me the crankshaft was annihilated.
After 6 months, they told you that finally?
Yes.
Like that's like one of the first things you pull apart, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you take the crank right out.
Yeah. Well, you got they take the motor out at Chesapeake and they ship the car's motor over to Georgia to disassembly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that doesn't take 6 months.
It's a whole 6 month process, boy. Good God.
From small custom set, it's Porsche, it's foreign. We're gonna look into this a little bit further.
It's
in state. I know.
Anyway, so they disassemble it and tell me the crankshaft's destroyed. Now, and can you guess the price on a 911 turbo crankshaft?
15 grand.
That's a little steep, I think.
More
than that?
Am I in the ballpark?
15
grand?
Absolutely.
More?
Too high?
15,000?
Yeah.
Or no, you're lower.
10?
A little bit lower.
5.
Okay. Well,
7.
Seven. It's $7K, right?
$7,000 for a crankshaft. God,
it was cheaper actually to go bill it by like $500. So that's what we ended up doing. But anyway, so that added on to my build. So now the build became like $49K or whatever, which I was already like, I just paid, $80K for this car. And now 4 months later, I have to put another 50 into it. Anyway, Jesus. And then the crankshaft took 7 months to get in. So they finally got the crankshaft in, and then there was a ton of delays in the rebuilding the motor. I think Texas 2K came around, and this came around, and that came around, excuse after excuse. Yep. But we got the car assembled.
Texas 2K is an event that CCO Performance hosts, right?
No, they don't host it.
No.
They build so many GTRs that they have like 10 customers that go race.
Gotcha. So
Texas 2K.
So that caused a lot of delay, right?
Yes, apparently.
Allegedly,
yes. I mean, it was parts. It was COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, COVID. Okay. So anyway, needless to say, we ended up getting the car was supposed to be done after we talked about the crankshaft coming in August. And that put me at like the 10-month or 11-month mark. I don't know what my math is right now. But the car ended up getting done in December. Yep. Because when we got it back, we were putting it on a cob and tuning it. It was supposed to make 1,000 wheel horsepower plus like 1,000 to 1,100. And you think about that and you go, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It does.
It sounds awesome,
That
right?
sounds really awesome.
Right now, I'm gonna tell you the reality of it.
Okay.
It's not awesome. Anyway, so I got the car back in December after having tuning troubles, and we finally got it tuned. And it made like 954, so a little under what we were shooting for. They said it was like air intake issues. Anyway, 900 wheel torque, 920 wheel torque, 954 wheel horsepower. But I also had like problems constantly.
That's fast.
I was having like oil leak problems. The alternator went out. The starter went out. And once again, costing me more and more money.
How much is an alternator?
Alternator? I think it was like $600 for that car.
God.
Yeah, it was like
That's
dumb
not
expensive.
something you like pick up at AutoZone.
No. You can't just pick up a Porsche turbo. No, you can't. No.
See, but me personally, I had this Mercedes-Benz total shitbox. And I found out that it was a cool car. And the rear end was actually Ford Ranger front end struts because it was cheaper than buying OEM Mercedes parts. So I would find a way to find an alternator that would work for the Porsche, you know what I mean?
I would love
I'd build
to.
one in the
I was
garage.
also in the thing like, okay, these guys have a warranty on the car. Like, let me just bring it to them. I told them if anything ever happens, I'll just bring it to you. My hands are never in that car. Right? I just want to be safe. This build cost me at the end of the day $70K. Well, I mean, at the end of the build, it was like 65 after the freaking alternator and starter and all that jazz. It was like 70. So I just brought it back to them to fix it. Not really something I wanted to do, but that's how it went. But anyway, getting on to driving the car.
Yeah, you were telling us a little bit about it beforehand.
So it's a manual,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, what do you have to do in manuals?
Clutch,
Shift, your hands on the shifter constantly. Your one hand's on the wheel, right? And the other foot's, okay. So you have a lot of multitasking. Now, like I said, the car built boost like quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like twin turbos, twin ball bearing turbos. It flies right out of the gate. They're not giant turbos, really. You don't need. If you have two, you don't need giant ones.
Yeah.
So you're not. It was not a laggy car.
Some people would say otherwise.
Yeah.
So anyway, like I said, you get out in traffic. You take a right out of your neighborhood, but you're like, oh, there's a lot of traffic coming. I need to take a right and get into traffic.
Get into the flow.
Right. Let's say your road's 45. I'll come out of first gear. And I'll get into rolling out of first gear, 10 mile an hour, step on it, carbo seconds, right? Like I'm not flooring it, but I'm giving it some gas and it builds boost and just
Done.
okay. And you got to shift, right? You want to grab second. So the car's scooting as you're watching the car to the left because you pulled out in the farmost right lane and they're looking at you like you're crazy.
Yep.
And you're really not going anywhere. I wasn't flooring it. It just the torque, 900 torque, and you're like,
Jeez.
Now that's one case, but like I was riding from Freedom with some guys, all 500, 600 wheel horsepower Corvettes, Mustangs, all that jazz, and we'll take the left out of the neighborhood or right out of the left out of Freedom, and you come out left out of Freedom. They're what? Just wail on it as soon as they come. Right? Me, I'm like, wail on it.
Yeah, let's try it
Let's
out.
go. All right, coming out 20, 30, wail. I thought the ass end was gonna kick out, and it's all-wheel drive, but it's just so much torque.
Have some meat on them too.
Yeah, it was like 305s, 325s on the rear.
Yeah,
So really thick tires.
Pretty thick.
Now, granted, I had PS4s on almost 1,000 wheel horsepower car, and I needed R888Rs, but they were back ordered until next
Should have
year.
got the PS5.
So that's harder to get.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, so you think like, what do you enjoy doing in a car? Do you like driving down the highway? Is that fun for you?
I love
Driving.
cruise control, you know.
I mean, but
Yeah.
like if you're driving a car, what do you want to do?
So I had a manual.
You wanna rock and roll every now and
Yeah.
Man, you did some wild shit in the Evo.
Right.
That's a fun car, man.
Yeah, but you did all function like back roads and curvy roads.
Yeah.
You can't do that in a Porsche. I would never take it to the tail of the dragon that way. There's no fucking way. I'd go in the ditch. Like, no way. Right?
With 1,000 horse.
Yeah. Even if I tuned it down to like 800, I had it down to 800 and it still spins anything like 40 and below. Right. So it was just too much of a car. Now versus that, I drove a automatic 991, and the automatic 991 made 900. Completely different car.
Yeah.
2014, brand new electronics,
Yep.
on Motec, and it checked itself. And even if it didn't check itself and it kicked, I have 2 hands on the steering.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's a difference. Like, they don't tell you, like, oh, 1,000 horsepower and be fast as shit. And then next thing you know, you're over here like worried for your life that you're gonna scoot your car, your $130,000 car into a Honda Civic. So
Hey.
A weight car who has a gigantic turbo with all the lag, but he makes like 1,000 horse out of a K series.
Hey,
Yeah.
450, man. 450.
So yeah, when I got the Porsche, it was like, and it's no fault to Sissio for that, right? Like, they could, I guess it could have told me, like, hey man,
They kind of gave you what you wanted,
right? But you know, at the end of the day, it's like in a manual car, no, I would never do it
I
again.
think like in a manual car, like 500-600 would probably be a little bit better than.
So bringing to my third car, which is the Evo 10, great convenience. I blew a hole right through the piston in October. And anyway, that was really good timing because I was out of cars. I didn't have the Kona at that time, so I was out of cars.
I had Crocs after that.
I borrowed my buddy's Q8 or Q8 for like 3 months and drove that around. Way too Gucci of a car, by the way. SUV.
Oh yeah.
You ever drove one of those?
No.
Massage seats, heated, cooled seats.
Really?
Sounds like our next vehicle.
Like super fancy, like autopilot. Like
You know, I drove a
sounds awesome.
21 Type R. That's a manual car. If you want to drive a Type R, you buy a Type R not because you want all these creature comforts with it. You buy a Type R because you want to drive it.
Right.
And the person I was with at the time was like, yeah, we're cruising to Bass Pro Shops. I was like, yeah, we're going to cruise over there because I was going to buy a handgun at the time. And I was like, yeah, we'll cruise over there. She goes, just lock it in autopilot. And I was like, why would I want to lock this in autopilot? But the car has it. I feel like that defeats the purpose of buying a manual car.
Well, I mean, if you're taking it across the country or something,
Yeah.
you got a long stretch of road and you ain't doing nothing.
It's nice to have.
Yeah, it could be convenient at some time.
This is the same person.
You're driving to the city though.
This is the same person that cut Kyle off.
I know exactly who it is.
You know exactly.
I know exactly who it is.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm
Hey,
building the Evo. I sleeved the motor, did every single thing you can do to that car, built the transmission. The only thing I didn't do was a diff. If I break the diff, it's easy to pull. So,
Yeah.
But I'm only shooting for 600 on E on that car. I think manual car again, all
Yeah.
drive,
You learned your
skinnier
lesson from it,
tires. You know, I learned my lesson. I don't need any more than that. And when you have it, you want to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? No, I was in the Porsche. I'm like, okay, I have a couple settings here. I can turn it down.
Mm-hmm.
But if I come across Wade,
Yeah.
I gotta smoke him.
Open the damn Civic. What's up, dog?
Yeah, let me waste some gas on this slow ass.
Yeah,
fucking car
yeah.
real quick.
Let's go. 40 roll. Come on, let's go.
I think that was my favorite thing about having a bike. I recently sold my motorcycle, but my favorite thing about having a bike is people would pull up next to me and like it was always like Ultima drivers. I think they're the absolute menaces of society.
Have you ever watched a rollerblading Ultima skit?
No,
with
I
the-
have not.
Oh God, you gotta
Rollerblading
Ultima. Yeah, it's like
Oh
a
yes, I know
little
the guy
gift.
with the dreads, right?
He's like going
like
through.
weaving in and out of everybody.
Yeah, he's
The
like
one I
weaving
share
in and out.
Every
of
time
the
it comes up on Facebook, I
rollerblading?
share it and I tag your ass. You know the one? He's got the dreads, just like weaving in and out.
Yeah,
That
here it
one.
is. It's only 18 seconds. It's like Ultima drivers.
Ultimate driver. Yeah, he's like weaving in and out of everybody, like cutting people off.
Yeah. That's me at the skating rink, though.
Oh,
I'm a stud. Hey, look, I'm telling y'all.
I went to the skating ring yesterday.
Yeah, there's one. Right
Did
up
you?
the road. We could literally walk there tonight.
We're not
Watch
walking
it.
there tonight.
Yeah,
I have my skates in my car.
look at that.
I do. I was there yesterday.
You got a size 13?
I don't, but you're not gonna wear them. So
I wouldn't
Those
want
are
to wear
fun.
them either.
No.
Man wears Crocs every time we do a podcast.
Look, man, I got to be comfortable, man.
show your Crocs.
They're in luxury mode.
What's the what do you say? If you ain't crocking, you ain't rock.
I don't know what it is.
You're the croc master.
I don't.
Yeah,
I just wear them because they're comfortable.
Oh, okay.
we wear them on deployments and stuff like that. In the military. You know, always got to wear them on.
Well,
deployments.
your
It's a safety thing.
Evo before the unfortunate things that happened to it. That thing was so much fun, man.
It's fun, and I love it. I will never ever get rid of my Evo. That's why I won't spare a penny on it. I'll do everything I can to it. And I was really hoping I could sell the Porsche so that I could, do everything to the Evo. Because if I sold the Porsche, I'd be completely debt free, right? And it'd be wonderful. It would be all clear. I'd have all the funds to do everything to the Evo. I have a little bit left over, so I was thinking about I wanted to wrap the car, so it's white, and I'm Stormtrooper, right? And
that's the one. That photo shoot's fucking sick.
Yeah. So I wanted to change it
At the
to.
bridge?
Stormtrooper Evo.
No.
Yeah, you haven't seen the Evo?
Oh, I know.
I have.
Oh,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Yeah,
you
I'm Stormtrooper Evo. So.
Okay.
But I wanted to rewrap it like TIE Fighter gray. And do like pinstripe red down the line, and then change it all to TIE Fighter. Just because it's a 2014, it's getting older, the paint's getting chipped, and why not? So
These are really awesome.
yeah, those are awesome pictures.
They
really came out.
You
I mean,
want-
we've done so many pictures with
You
the
want
car.
some pictures? Hit up G Beer Man Photo.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, hit me up.
He's
I've been here
great
since his
photographer.
inception.
He was my very first photo shoot.
Really?
Yeah, I think you hit me up and you're like,
Yep.
oh, I saw your Stormtrooper car. That was before I did like crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I think before I ever even did the headlights, right?
Yeah, before you did the headlights.
Yeah,
Because I
before I
was
did
at
the
work.
headlights.
I was at work and I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw Jordan's pictures of it. And I was like, that thing looks fucking sweet. I wonder if he'll let me do pictures for him. So I'm good. And so I hit you up and you were like, yeah, come on by later on after work or whatever. And I went over to his house and we looked at the Evo, and next thing you know, we're going out to
Where you used to work.
Yeah, Norfolk Southern.
Yep.
The railroad place. We did some pictures out there, and they were really bougie ass pictures.
Hey, you did the best you could at the time, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
I would never say they were bad.
No, well, I will, and that's okay.
I guess so. I guess so.
That's
Compared to now, it's like I feel a lot more confident now.
I did photography as well.
Right.
As a consumer, you're like, man, these photos are fire. And then I look at them, I'm like, man, I could have done a lot better on this. Like, you're super critical of your work. You know?
Whenever you look back in time at your earliest stuff, it's so cringy.
Yeah. Oh,
It's so cringy because you're like, ugh.
That's like how this is going to be. We're going to look back on this once we have a better setup and everything's going a little
Yeah, one day
smoothly.
we'll look back and be like, damn, hey, we're doing what we can.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not
What I can
bad.
do with you leaving your lens at home.
Sorry.
That's why you're so
I don't know if
far
you can.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're a little different.
We
I actually
look-
kind of like it though
Yeah,
because
we look really close up here, but the camera's actually 15 feet in the opposite
Yeah.
direction.
yeah, we're shooting with a 50mm lens over. there.
But yeah, that's what I'm doing with the Evo. And I'm at a halt right now because I told you how much a Porsche cost me a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be at a halt. As
So
well.
yeah, I'm out of money for
Actually, I
Evo,
think
so.
that I would not even be able to afford life.
So I told you guys about the Porsche blew up again, right, in January. I didn't tell you why. Did I tell you why?
I don't
Okay.
know because
So-
last time I saw you, we were at a sumo speed event.
So yeah, I got it December 3rd, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, I had constant problems. And they tuned it down when I first got it. It was only making like 800 or so. And to me, I thought it was 900 something. Right? I had no clue. But then my dumbass goes and races guys with like 1,000 wheel horsepower and gets smoked.
Yeah.
And I felt like,
the Mustang.
Ryan just destroyed me.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a close race. And not only did we know, Jan, the guy at Sissio, knew I was going to race him. And he was like, it's going to be a good race. This motherfucker sided and turned the car down almost 150 horsepower. Actually, probably 150 horsepower.
Yeah.
So I'm going to race Ryan, which was making like 1,000, 1,100.
That
at the
Mustang's sick.
time. And
No, it was blue.
and they made me look like I wasn't racing. I'm not egotistical, but I hurt my feelings.
I saw the race and I was like, ooh, what happened?
Yeah.
Definitely crushed the feelings.
Yeah, it crushed my feelings
Yeah.
a little bit, right? You're so excited, like this is
Yeah.
fast. Everybody just running, it's like this is fast. And you race somebody that's fast, and I'm not so fast.
Fastest car I've ever been on was I know a guy up in Connecticut, that's where I'm from. He has a Supra. And unfortunate circumstances happened to him.
Is that a
And
Super Brew?
And because of those unfortunate circumstances, he got a very large settlement. And with that large settlement, he bought an Evo 8, an Evo 9, and a Supra.
Oh my!
Yes.
That's
Do
a
I
nice
know
settlement.
this guy?
Huh?
Do I know this guy?
We'll talk offline.
Okay.
I'm not going to name drop right now. And he has a red Supra, a blue Evo, and a silver Evo.
Does he live here?
No, he's not local.
Oh, okay.
He's
Oh,
only
I
up in
know this
Connecticut. And at the time when I went for a ride in the car, it was making around 15. And when I tell you that is the fastest vehicle I've ever been in my life, horrified the entire time. Now I'm super excited to go for a ride with Mark because Mark has the Tesla Model S Plaid.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I know your reaction.
Yeah. Oh, it's priceless.
Bro, it seriously knocked this hat off of my head,
Yeah,
and it didn't hit the seat. It
that was
just kind of
something I
pulled
was disappointed about the Porsche too. Like I could not do first gear pull. Like
Yeah.
from it,
Just way
it
too
would just-
scary.
It would just
Even with all wheel.
Yeah.
It would
It's
just
just
roast them.
roast them. And the Tesla just whatever electronics it has is just perfect.
It is.
It also sets the car, doesn't it? It's like he puts it in cheetah mode and then it like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in sport mode. It's got 3 modes: sport mode, drift mode, and chill mode. And they actually take time to load up. So like if you put it in sport mode, depending on the temperature and everything outside, sometimes it could take upwards of 20 to 30 minutes to get ready for sport mode. Yeah. So we did a couple pulls of sport mode, and he was like, "You want to do it in drift mode?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." He's never done it in drift mode before, and I'm like, "Let's do it." So he stops the car and he puts it in drift mode, and it says 30 minutes. And he's like, sorry, man, we ain't doing that today." I was like, "God damn!" It takes time to like heat up the fucking electronic systems or some shit. I don't.
Hey, at
fucking
least
know.
Tesla's doing it right away.
It is unbelievable.
He told me. So I went up to a place in Richmond. I forget how long ago it was, but we went up to Richmond for Mark got I don't know, it was 20 cars, 25 cars out there, and everybody, there were 15 photographers, 20 cars. And I was like, man, fuck this. I'm not going to try and vibe with these guys and, have people, oh, hey, man, when you're done with the shop, move out the way. I want to, shoot photography the way I shoot photography and not have people in the way. So I just said, fuck it, I'm not going to go. Or I went there, and I said, fuck it, I'm not going to shoot. I ended up taking photos of my friends' bikes and stuff like that. And while we're up there, Mark is talking about all these features on the Tesla and just hey man, yeah, I got the update to go 186 miles an hour. I got the fucking update. I was like, you got an update? He's like, yeah, over your update, I can do 186 now. I was like, my Passat tops out at 115.
That's the exact speed I did in the Porsche.
Really?
Yeah, green where you go over to my house. That stretch is straight.
That Greenbrier area.
Yeah.
Where the cops sitting all the fucking
Yeah,
time?
but we got ways these days.
Right. We got
Right.
we got Motorola's too,
And
coppers.
And who's gonna chase I don't even know if you'd see the car. It was at nighttime.
They'll
Just
chase.
at 186.
I doubt it.
No.
They don't chase above 120.
Well, they don't chase bikes at all. They're not supposed. State
Why
troopers.
did I know that? I know the speed limit.
State troopers chase motorcycles. In the city, police will not unless they get the phone call.
Not that I was trying to test it.
Right.
But I did want to see how fast the car went.
Yeah, let's push
And
it.
it would go faster, but I got scared. So
Yeah.
there's a point where you're running out of road and you tap the brakes and it goes.
It's a little squirrely.
And
on
you're
you.
like, oh,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
no brakes.
The assholes puckering up in the
no
seat a
brakes.
little bit.
Just let it glide. Let it glide.
Man.
But anyway, I was saying the Porsche. Yeah, so the Porsche it gave out in January 3rd or whatever. So I was it was cold all 3 days before. It was in the shop on Tuesday because it was having an oil leak and I got the oil topped off. And I was driving it just back and forth to work at that point because, Evo's broken. I hadn't bought the Kona yet. I was like, I'm just going to do this until I sell it. I was ready. I was going to auction it off. And I was just waiting for it to hit auction, but it constantly had problems. And we had to replace the oil line and we were waiting for that to come in. So I was like, I don't want to put it up until it's perfect. Right. So anyway, I got it back on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it was stalling at lights for no reason. I wouldn't even get RPM change. It would just go.
It would just die.
It would just die. And then I started getting a ticking. Now me again, I'm trying to think the best thing, right? And I thought it was plastic because I heard it from the front passenger side. I thought it was plastic, right? They had to lift the car up. Maybe they hit something, but it was freaking 30 degrees in the morning before I went to work. So I'm not checking under the car, and it's low still. So I'm not checking under the car in the morning. So I was just whatever, it's plastic, but it so I just didn't concern myself with it. But I told Jan, I was like, hey, getting a little bit of a tap, tick, tick, whatever. I don't know what's going on. He's like, all right, bring it in on Friday. And on Thursday on my way to work, wasn't doing anything. It was 40 degrees in the morning. I'm not going wild in the car. I'm just going to work. In the HOV, had to get around a car. Didn't really build boost. Just I was in 6th gear, maybe built 2 pounds. And then went from click, and then I got the oil pressure light, and I was like, up, and I turned the car off mid-drive and just pulled it into the HOV and just immediately called the tow truck because I had like some work stuff I had to be in for. I just had them tow it right to Sissio. And they told me at first that it was a bearing. They were like, it's another bearing. And Jan was super apologetic. He was like, I'm so sorry, man. Like, this sucks. And I was like, hey, you're telling me. Yes, it fucking sucks, dude. Anyway, I ended up getting in a pretty heated argument with the owner of the company because he didn't want to fix the car. When I say he didn't want to fix the car, he wanted to find a reason to blame me for the problem. And Jan knew that the car was in the shop 2 days before that. Like, you would have seen the problem, right? Like, if there was a problem, you would have heard it because they always drive the cars before they give them back to their customers. So I was like,
if I don't know first performance shop, it's I was like, hey man, I want 1,000 horsepower out of the Porsche. Make it happen. I'll be like, yeah, of course. I would definitely take it for a fucking spin.
So, but I don't blame them. I'm glad they drive it before anything or giving it back to me. But my point of the fact is like, Jan would have said something, right? Like I'm not beating on the car. I'm bringing it in because I think there's a problem. I brought it in because it was low on oil and we needed to top it off. And Jan was all in my defense about it. Granted, he wasn't on the phone call when Sissio, the owner, called me, but Sissio's over there trying to tell me every reason he doesn't need to fix it, right? I don't need to fix it. I don't have to. And mostly it was intimidating because he knew that I could really dime him out for everything. Like, I mean, the car took 14 months to finish.
So I've heard about this car from him talking about it. Like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Stormtrooper Evo and Porsche was the same person, but now that I've heard so much about it, it makes sense. And like hearing it from you and hearing everything that you've gone through with it, it's just like fucking blows my mind.
It's really funny, actually. Useless Media is in here, and his car was actually at CCO as well.
Good luck.
And and I saw a picture of his car and your car in the same damn garage, and I was like, hey, I know that guy.
I'll give them the matter of the fact that they make great GTRs. They do a wonderful job with GTRs and cars that they're used to. They should have never taken on the project with my car. They should have.
Have they not worked on Porsches before?
No, they work on. They specialize on 991s, right? That's GTRs, 991s, the new Corvette, McLarens. They do those regularly. And they told me when they brought when I said, okay, are we gonna fix this car and what we're gonna do to it? They said, oh well, we did a 997 3 years ago, made 1,000 on it, blah 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 blah, and they went on and on. And I was like, okay, so you're comfortable doing it? Yes. So they took it on as comfortable, right? They hadn't done it in a while, but yeah, it's just I should have taken it to New Jersey and had it done. But where I was going was to come find out, right? Again, it took. It was January. I just got the news last month, almost exactly last month, because the car was supposed to be done at the end of June. That was what they told me in May. It was supposed to be done in June. And we know how my car being done works, right?
Now we're in August.
Yeah. So last month, now imagine after that phone call, I hate Sissio, right? I really don't want to talk to that guy. And I called Jan after that phone call and was like cursing him out, only because I was so mad. And I was like, how dare your owner talk to me like this? Like, I gave you 70 grand.
This kind of
I waited 14 months for this car. Right? I'm sorry, I'm not a millionaire that has my GTR in there and then I'm driving my Huracan on the side. Yes, I'm not that guy, right? Anyway, so fast forward to last month, Jan contacted me and goes, hey, Sissio wants to talk to you. And my response was, Sissio wants to talk to me? ? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't want to talk to him. He's like, well, he said he needs to talk to you. And I was like, my car is a month behind. and Sissio needs to talk to me. That's not good, right? There's nothing good that comes out of this. So we got on the phone call.
like
I recorded it, but we get on the phone call, and Sissio basically tells me, hey, the worst thing that could ever happen to your car has happened to your car.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Right.
we sold it.
It actually got impounded.
So instead of a bearing, a Carrillo rod snapped in half. Like in half. 1,500 wheel horsepower rated rod in half. And what happens when a rod snaps?
Yeah, scars.
Everything.
Yeah. So it punched a hole through the block.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
Destroyed the oil pump. Right? You know what Porsche doesn't make anymore?
Oil pumps for that car.
And blocks for that car.
Oh.
Right? The Metzger motor is no longer existent. You know how many 997 turbo Metzger engines are around?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay. So that's where we're running into. So currently the estimate of like whenever the car is going to be done is like way in the air because he's trying to pin it on Carrillo for giving them a faulty part because they went over everything, went over the logs because he's trying to prove me wrong, went over all the logs and everything and whatnot and found that nothing was wrong and the rod just snapped in half.
And it's rated for 1,500.
Yep, rated for 1,500 horsepower.
Wait, it just.
These are forged parts though, right?
Oh yeah, everything was forged. Everything. The only thing I didn't do that car was cams, because the cams would make it like really rough driving. So
I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't sound right to me.
well, and that's what he said. He's like,
Something just went. I don't know.
well, he said the only conclusion is that rod was forged wrong. So whatever the forging process, it had to have like hairline cracks or something in it, and it got through inspection.
So like my thought process here, I watched a lot of Forged and Fire, the show where they make knives and shit like that. It's like when something like that detrimental goes wrong, there's like a hairline fracture or there's like a hot spot in it that caused that breakage, and then that just perforated from there. You know what I mean?
But I mean, the heat.
I'm no expert.
If 1,500
I just
horsepower, if it's
felt it.
rated for 1,500 horsepower, then
You should.
it should be able to withstand your 8 to 9.
Yes.
You know.
Anyway, but it snapped in half, punched a hole through the block, and basically Cisco's response was, so yeah, I'm getting a hold of Carrillo, and they're gonna pay for this shit, and blah 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 blah, because a used Porsche motor is $40,000. That's not including that we have to put all new forged parts in it.
Yeah.
Inspect all the turbos. We didn't sleeve it, but
Okay.
we have to do all that. One, they have to get it. Two, they have to inspect it. Three, all the forged parts. Oh wait, crankshaft, 7 months again. All this jazz that's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
So their estimate was anywhere from 2 to 5 years.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, 2 to 5
Are you
years.
serious,
Yeah, so
2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years.
So
Now, granted, it's been 23 months going on.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what to say to that, man.
I've
That's
never heard anything
insane.
like that.
I want to apologize on their behalf.
Useless said, bruh. Bruh. Oh my
That's
God.
a bro moment right
Yeah.
there.
It's
2 to 5 years, and it's already been 2.
yes.
Yeah. So
And you've driven the car how many hours you think total?
I drove it 330 miles on that build. 300. Yeah.
Bro, my heart is hurting for you right now, man.
So, yeah.
That's rough.
And half of that was in the winter, just driving to work.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like having fun 300
Yeah, I was
miles.
gonna say, like,
That was like
work mileage.
me driving to work.
Yeah, work mileage is like you're doing this little bit of a
Yeah.
speed limit. You're cruising. You just
15 miles of work.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the Porsche, which is delayed. The
The
Evo.
Evo's beautiful. So if you
Oh,
see
the Evo is crazy.
I'm sure the Evo's gonna be great. Now, you also said you're a bodybuilder, and I know you brought some surprises for us tonight.
Yes.
I'm definitely intrigued to get into that.
Ooh, yes.
I'll let you kind of give us the MO on that.
All right. Let me hit this.
Yeah. no,
Wait,
you're good.
how long you been a bodybuilder?
So I've been doing bodybuilding since 5 years ago. I'm a part of Natural Bodies Gym, and they sponsor me, I guess you can say.
Hmm.
I
Can I get a discount?
Tyler said I'm looking a little chunky.
Yeah, a
So,
little bit.
but
You saw me when I ripped my shirt off.
yeah, I've been doing that. If you look at my before and after pictures, like I was never fat or skinny,
Yeah.
but just bodybuilding before and after. Like my
Yeah.
first competition and my last competition,
Yeah.
astronomical differences. And it's just a sport that's bittersweet
Yeah.
because it's stringent dieting and stringent exercises and
And
very
I was-
particular things. So
I was told when you guys go into competition that you guys drink distilled water because it tastes like.
there's so many different.
Because it like sucks the skin into your muscles.
Now,
and,
what
like,
I have done in the
popcorn.
past is dehydrate.
Yeah.
And my coach last time changed that a bit on me. But my first competition, I drank like 2 gallons of water the 7 days out. And then like I dwindle it all the way to like a cup, like my last day. So you dwindle it all the way down to a cup and you're still working out prolifically,
Yeah.
sweating and whatnot. So that's just to kind of like, shrink the skin in and get as stringent as you can, because a lot of the competition, you want to see like every definition of the muscle when I flex. So that's how that goes.
Are
But
you one
yeah,
of those cats that takes the pre-workout and throws it in your energy drinks?
I have done that. When I worked at GNC, I was in the Navy and working at GNC at the same time and bodybuilding at the same time. Is
Yeah.
when I first did my competition, and I remember having like the orange mango bang, and then we had like this lit orange mango flavor
Yeah.
pre-workout, and I throw it in there, and it was delicious. And I get wired for like 4 hours. It's
God.
great. I was.
It was great.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. Huh?
Yeah. I mean,
I thought they just walked upstairs and was like, "Hey,
no.
what up?
What's up, bros?"
I'll prep for a competition at a bare minimum of 20 weeks. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
all the way up until like 36 weeks or so. So it just depends.
And you're giving us some specs on like deadlift PRs and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
you said,
so-
like, your personal, like the highest you ever did was what, 7 something?
Yeah, 705.
705.
I want to get higher. I want to really end up lifting, like really working on my lifts a lot more.
Mhm.
I just hate the repetition that comes with it, because the thing about bodybuilding is, although it's repetition with food, it's not repetition in the gym. So you're always kind of doing something new. But if you look at like people that compete in powerlifting,
Yeah.
if you ever do it and watch them, like let's go to Iron Asylum, and you just watch that dude do like 20 sets of squats and then go home, and I'm like, I'd be like,
You
shaking.
yeah, you're
And I just don't want to be like
And you gotta go, and
that.
then you gotta go drive a Porsche.
Yeah.
With a clutch that I can only imagine.
I forget how heavy that clutch was. It was heavy.
Oh, yeah.
It was heavy. So, but yeah, it's a bittersweet thing. You get to the very bitter when you're at the end of it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is so bitter.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to have a piece of
Yeah.
macaroni and cheese. A piece. I just want a piece.
I just want one noodle.
I want a
One noodle.
Yeah,
Give
you're,
me
you're
the
sitting
noodle.
there like staring at a pie, and you're like, "I'll have you eventually."
Yeah.
So-
SpongeBob, where he's like, "I need it."
So the day after a competition, or the day of a competition, at the very end when you're all done, do you just gorge yourself?
I do. You're really not supposed to, but like my last competition was in Pennsylvania. I went to nationals, and I remember going out into town, and like first thing I got was like a latte, and it was the best latte I ever had. It was delicious. And then
With
I
no
went
protein
out
powder in
and
it.
we got Philly cheesesteaks.
Oh.
Out, we're out there, so we got Philly cheesesteaks. Demolished Sam, walking down the street. There's a bakery. I'm like, cookies. I made cookies, killed some cookies. I think I had something else too. And the crazy thing was, I didn't look as good as I wanted to on stage at nationals. Like there's some prep even right before the competition that you need to do. You take in a bit of sugar, rated blood pressure, stuff like that. And the competition kind of got rushed that day, and we had to go out to stage early. So I didn't really look as good as I wanted to. And I learned a very valuable lesson that day, that I have to eat like absolute dog crap before I go on stage, because I went back to my hotel room and I was peeled. Like my veins were busting out of my body. I looked like a goddess. I was like, why couldn't I have gone on stage like this? Like, and I had to take a selfie.
You walk into the hotel and people are like, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I like stripped down my underwear when I got in the hotel, And I was just like, whoa, this is wild.
Damn.
Peak performance achieved.
So I
That's
learned,
why guys like wait.
I learned that I
Exactly.
need Philly cheesesteak, a latte, and some
Man,
cookies.
can you imagine if he took
Yeah.
a honey pack that night too? God almighty damn, boy.
So yeah, like I was getting at, but you brought some stuff for us.
Right.
I think you said top 5.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the top 5 energy drinks. Prepare to be awake for a while. So we're going to do the top 5 energy drinks. I'm an energy drink connoisseur, so everybody on my social media kind of knows that. That I review energy drinks, probably had 100 of them. I have them in tin foil so that you guys don't know the flavors.
Yep.
And what we're going to do is we're going to guess the flavor first, and then after you guess the flavor, you'll guess the company. I'll give you the companies. I think I said Alani Nu, Ghost, Rain, Ray's Energy,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna need these
and
written down.
another one. So, all right.
So
We'll do one at a time. So just grab a cup and
Oh, they get stuck in there. It's really easy.
this is fun.
Yeah. I actually
We've never done a
This is-
flight of energy drinks before.
Yeah.
All right. Take it like a shot. Do we have any vodka? Because
Ah,
vodka
sip-
goes great
sip
with
it, don't
energy.
shot. Yeah, I was thinking about doing vodka with these and seeing which one you guys liked for with vodka the best, because I always drink energy drinks when I'm drinking
Yeah.
because I get sleepy really easy.
Mhm.
And
Fucking goddamn bodybuilder breaking these cups.
I feel like
They're all
I
glass.
feel like glass.
They're crystal, actually.
I feel like I'm tasting one. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I
a
was
little bit,
drinking
yeah.
energy drink with my vodka.
Yeah.
And I always struggle when I go to a party to be like, what energy drink am I going to get with this? Even though I've tried 100.
I just do
I just
Red
can't
Bulls.
imagine what it is.
Vodka Red Bull.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either, but I like it.
It tastes like Sprite.
Is it like a lemon lime?
I'll just really savor it. I know exactly what it is because these are my top 5.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna be absolutely freaking wired.
This is a can of Sprite.
I haven't had caffeine in 3 months.
Now I can see where you're getting at with this
Obey your
Sprite.
thirst.
I can see where you're getting at with the Sprite, but it is a particular candy.
It's a candy.
It is a candy
Candy.
Oh, we're getting hints. I like this.
of the chewy variety. A
Oh,
candy
even
of the
better.
chewy
Oh, man.
variety.
Sour Patch Kids.
Oh.
It almost is like a.
It's Crunchy Boy.
It's a crunchy boy.
That's the story.
Man,
We went
what-
to Woodbridge, Virginia to do a photo shoot, which didn't end up happening.
You know what? I'm
Stop
gonna
off.
get my Laffy Taffy.
What?
Laffy Taffy.
No. No.
I'll give you that. You're just way off.
You're way off.
I'm way off.
He's like, it's the banana ones.
And
I don't know what that is. A candy, a chewy candy, gummy bear of some
candy.
sort.
Maybe
Maybe-
not a gummy bear. But
maybe-
it's reminiscent of gummy. Is it
It
gummy
is
bear?
gummy bear.
Hey, that kid for the win.
Particular white gummy bear.
Yeah. The white gummy bears. Wow.
I found this vape juice that tasted exactly identical to this. I'm sure if you drank this, ate white gummy bears and vape at the same time, you'd be like, "Holy shit, it's all the same."
So what kind was that?
So that is white gummy bear flavor.
Oh, we can't go by the.
Jared, you were wrong, but it's okay.
Oh, we can't.
He said this one
Green,
is
he said the
apple
green
rain.
apple rain is what one of our viewers said.
Rain.
It is rain.
It is rain.
It is rain. It's the white gummy bear flavor.
I kind of like that.
Jared, if you drink energy drinks, it's
Oh! Hey, good thing I'm wearing Crocs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying to be.
Disagreed about the labeling.
Oh yeah.
I like this. This is good.
Yeah,
That's a really good one, actually. Yeah.
This is
I
a fun-
cannot tell what flavor this is. So, and they're clear. So you know it really.
Oh, this
All of them
really
are clear.
smells
I'm
like
not gonna
Sprite.
lie. I peeked at the green tabs out, and I
Oh.
said, I think it's monster.
I said,
And then I smelled it,
he said,
tasted it, I said,
He said,
nah.
my man brought monster.
I really think this is Sprite. This is more Sprite-ier flavor tasting or smelling than the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what this is.
What?
This is Sprite, bro. 100% Sprite.
Definitely not.
You're fucking giving us a placebo right now.
Yeah, all these cans
I
are just
drink Sprite religiously, and I agree with that.
This is hard Sprite, dog. What do we got in common?
You just said man has COVID. I don't know what he's referring to.
Yeah, it's COVID.
Oh, Laffy Taffy. He said there's a Laffy
Yeah.
Taffy. No, it's more like a gummy bear. This is Sprite.
So this one, it sits on it. You get the after flavor, and this one is really what the actual flavor is. If you need more
Lemon lime of some sort. Limey, lemon.
take a good swig of it.
I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Now this is my absolute flavor.
The burp is even Sprite.
But they're all carbonated, right? So you're gonna get that
Right.
kind of Spritey flavor to it.
Birthday cake bang doesn't taste like Sprite.
Fair.
Tastes
Fair.
like ass.
It does.
That's terrible.
What is that, man? That
So
is
any guesses?
Wait, what were the companies again?
There's Rain, Rays, Rockstar, Alani
These are all
New.
really good.
And
I'm gonna go with this is Alani.
This is not Alani New.
Oh shit.
I can tell you, out of all of them, this is the Alani.
Yeah, you get that one's
Yeah.
easy.
the cans.
I've had the Alani New before,
Can.
and I like their flavors.
So for this, I'll reveal it. This one is your Voodoo. Voodoo. It is a reminiscent flavor of like a sun kiss, like a watered down sun kiss.
Oh, there it is.
okay.
You want to try it again? And
Yeah.
Now that you know,
Yeah, just let me get a little.
Now that you
let me get a
know,
little.
You said Sunkiss?
yeah, like think of like an orange sun kiss or a Fanta.
Oh, you still said no, not on him. There it is. I got it. Yep.
Because
Now
it
that it's
says
in your brain, though, you can
everything
kind of
tastes
taste
like
that
Sprite.
orangey
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
not
And-
overpowering at all.
It's not, and I like this more than drinking like a sun kiss, because sun kiss like punches you with
Yeah.
orange blast of sweetness, and this is more subtle. So it's not-
Zero sugar in this?
Zero sugar.
Wow.
Hey,
Are they all zero sugar?
All of them.
Check
Zero
this
sugar.
out. Check this out. So it says, Garrett Burger, random, but hear me out. My life hack for long days of photography events in the heat. Mix energy drinks with Gatorade. Hydrates you and energizes you at the same time.
I've never thought of that.
I
mean,
know.
You just gotta figure out
This
a
man-
combination.
This man's living in the 2042.
All right.
He's looking at 2042.
Good.
Gonna have cardiac
All right,
arrest.
another one. Now
Very
this
good.
one.
But be a real good athlete.
Now this one has 4 flavors. If you could, I'd give you $20 if you could guess all 4 flavors.
Wash that away.
You know, straight up, I'd give you $20.
Shit.
So if you can guess 4 flavors out of this, you get $20. I got that 20 I just found.
Oh yeah.
So I'll straight give it to you.
Oh, look at that pink lemonade. There's one.
You ready to pass that cup now? We'll pass it on.
Not as carbonated as the others.
No.
Ooh, I like the smell of this. This smells wonderful.
I don't really like.
I got a burp.
You can tell the taste difference.
I'm getting like a hibiscus.
So this is my number 4. It's a lot less light. It's lighter on the carbonation, but it's very rich with flavor. Really, it has 4 flavors.
Does it taste like Sprite, big man?
No, not this one. This one. This one's
I'm getting like lemon.
this one's pink lemonade.
No, I'm getting. I don't know. I think this one out of the 3 that we tasted so far is my favorite.
It's a good one.
It's kind of on the sour side
Okay.
as compared to the other 2. So that's where I'm going. I'm definitely going with a pink lemonade vibe. Maybe a pomegranate might be in
Out
there.
of all the flavors, yeah.
I'm getting like a hibiscus about it though.
Save a little bit because when I reveal it, you'll want to try it again and then be like, "Oh, I get it."
This is your number 4.
Paprika.
This is my number 4.
Paprika.
Strawberries in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 1.
Strawberry.
Strawberries in it.
Strawberry, banana.
Oh, Jared also said that the combination of Gatorade and energy drinks helps you recover from hangovers quicker.
So does
Oh,
cold beer.
say less.
Yeah, sometimes you know beer the morning after. Hey, Jared, what do you think of my fade? Do I look like a cop that's going to pull somebody over and turn off the body cam? Because that's what I'm
Jesus Christ.
Speaking of that, after this, we got to do the video.
Yes, I would
The
love
controversy
to.
video.
Green apple?
Nope. No
That sort of
apple.
apple?
All right,
If you're watching this stream right now, give us a like and give us a follow if you're not already doing so.
You just said hey yo to what you said.
All right. So any
What
other
the
guesses?
fuck?
We got strawberry in there. There's 3 more flavors.
Strawberry.
Is this the one, the company I mentioned?
I don't know.
We can't tell you right
I
now.
know.
$20 is on the line.
It's not Ghost.
No, it's not Ghost.
No.
It's absolutely worth it. Okay.
$20 on the line. Strawberry.
I can't even.
All right. So I'll reveal. First off, any guesses on the company?
No.
I forget the name.
Hey, you're
First,
live.
Such a good flavor.
Just ended. You want to restart it?
That's interesting. That I would drink all the time.
I don't know if I can drink this all the time. It's a very subtle. I don't remember the company.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Is it Rockstar that makes that?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh. Was not guessing Rockstar.
Oh, turn around. Haha. It's over.
So Rockstar is.
Okay.
All right. So we'll reveal this
Because I was
flavor.
thinking of them, and I was like, okay, a lot of them have like those newer companies. Here's okay.
All right. So rated.
Tangerine, mango, guava, strawberry. Sounds like every baked juice flavor on the planet. Everything's got tangerine, guava.
That's really.
It's okay.
And cheap. I got these at Kroger for $1 a piece.
Really.
Oh,
Not beat that.
Really.
$1 a piece at Kroger. Now, always $1, but they were doing their like 5 for $5 deal, like 5 buy 5 get them for $5.
Right.
Yeah, can't beat that.
That's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know.
Too much vape juice.
Yeah, too much babe juice.
You gotta listen to the clip, maybe specific.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
Ghost.
the click's the same to everything.
All right.
Another clear one. Look at that.
Must be Sprite.
Okay.
Has to be Sprite.
Good God. It's gotta be.
You know what?
Oh, no.
Sprite.
Nah, this will smell like Sprite.
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
a tropical
this
fruity.
is Ghost, huh?
It is 100% Ghost. You got that right off the bat.
Sour patch Kids.
Yeah. Oh,
What flavor?
Red.
watermelon.
Not red.
Pink.
Not pink. Blue.
It's
Blue Raz.
Yeah.
Blue Raz.
Blue
Sour
Raz.
Patch Kids.
Yep.
It's very distinctive. Isn't
I've
it?
had this. Yeah.
I've had this before too.
And if you've never tried another
Wake
good
up your
honorable
taste buds.
mention is the Warhead. They have watermelon Warhead. It is super sour though.
Yeah.
Just pucker factor.
Jared said the haircut screams he's resisting.
Why are we? I can't laugh at that. That's not funny.
Yeah, no, guys.
God damn it, Jared. What the fuck? Guy's just sitting in his car with his hands on the steering wheel. He's resisting.
This is I saw
I like this.
This is my number 2 though.
I like
This
this.
is a really good flavor.
I like this.
Really
So your
solid.
number one is the last one, right?
No, my number 1 was Voodoo. I just want to
Okay.
order.
I like the voodoo.
I think the Voodoo is refreshing. I love Sunkist.
And what I'm gonna do again here is I saved a little bit of all of them. I'm gonna mix them all together and try it.
Oh, you kinky bastard.
You're gonna mix them all together.
Yeah, just take a sip and see where that nets me out. If it's terrible, it's terrible. If it's great, it's great. You know. I will give you credit though. The Ghost and the Voodoo, I think, are very popular with people I work with.
Oh, it's pink.
I might be able to guess this one off through because I've had few of these. Pass down.
Man, we are going to be fucking high tonight.
You
I'm
guys
already
know
feeling a
what
little
that means.
Bubble gum.
No, I've had this one.
cotton candy. Ooh, that is bubble gummy, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just like,
You know what? I don't know what this flavor is. I do know the flavor name. I don't know the flavor content. So your guess is as good as mine on this. I know what it's called, but
Oh,
I like that.
what a bite.
I was super tired. I used to work swings. I was super tired at work. I was out all day, and I didn't sleep all day.
What kind of swings? Sex swings?
Yeah, I was on sex swings.
Yes.
At work.
Yes, Daddy.
That's kind of right.
Yeah.
Well,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but I was on swings, super tired. I was like, hey, let me get one. This comes in a blue color can, or is it like a bluish pinkish color can?
kind of.
Oh,
It's got like a little, it's all flowy. They got all fruit
Space
flavors.
flavors?
Yeah.
this tastes
You're
like
actually right.
No.
Yes.
Like
It's
space
called
Stardust.
It's called kind of like that. It's called Cosmic Stardust.
Dude, what the fuck?
Get the fuck out of here.
I just threw
You
it out
son of a
there.
bitch. This tastes like the stars. God damn.
I think I said this is such a crazy taste, and I have no idea what the fuck this space flavor
This is
is.
cosmic,
This is
man.
It
universal.
reminds me of the soda, the space soda that came
Now I
out.
really gotta drink it.
Yeah, it tastes like space.
So rate yours one to 5 out of all these.
My favorite is the Alani.
Okay.
Mine would be the.
You really like the Cosmic Stardust so much? Or just Alani New in general?
I like the brand Alani New because I like what they're going for, but at the same time, the Cosmic Stardust is a really.
Now, my favorite, if you ever get your hands on of Alani New, because this was a last minute entry, is Witch's Brew.
Ooh, I haven't had that one.
It's a
Sounds like
sour
coffee.
apple with
Ah.
a hint of caramel at the end.
Ooh, okay.
Came out last year for Halloween time.
Hey, I want to talk about real quick that protein powder that you put me on.
Which one?
The
Oh, you're talking
fucking
about-
Lucky Charms, man.
All right, did you
I
get
got
more?
some. Yeah, I got
Oh,
some.
nice.
Yeah, and I got the s'mores one too. That Lucky Charms. Hey, look, there's a protein powder out there. Who's it made by?
America Labs.
America Labs. America Labs. Man, badass. fucking
Go watch their videos
advertisement.
too, because America Labs makes some A1
Oh,
American
I did
videos.
that. What was the second to
I don't know
last?
about all that. I don't know about all that.
Second to last one was
Really sour.
oh, Sour Patch Kids, Blue Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, that one was my favorite. I like that one.
It's not terrible, but it's weird. We mixed it all together.
That's it.
I put
It's
I
not
put the
terrible.
Alani and the Sour Patch together.
I like all of them, so it's
I
not
think
terrible.
I like the second one more.
the second one.
The voodoo.
You like the voodoo?
This was
You wanna
Yeah.
swing it real quick.
Yeah, I think so.
Alani and Sour Patch.
What?
Alani, right?
Yeah, Alani is the Cosmic, and then oh, you missed
Sour
them.
Patch. Yeah, I have some of
Ooh.
the Sour Patch left. So.
Man, that is a nasty combo right there. But this right here is pretty good.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I can fuck with this.
Right?
Yeah.
Zero sugar.
Yeah, all of these were 0 sugar.
Oh,
Yeah, you missed
Yeah,
that.
all of them.
yeah, I did this.
Pretty good. Pretty good. It gets my approval.
Man.
Man, I'm telling you what, my belches are feeling there. Like the belches are coming.
Call it Cosmic Kids.
All right, so do we want to get to this video?
Yes.
So I'm definitely intrigued by that.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Wade, you want to pull it up and we'll
Yeah.
give the audience what. Now you can look this video up.
How many people are in here live right now for your
I don't
feed?
know. Let me look. Is it something?
No, I wouldn't call that.
I think it's just Dan. I've never seen so many good looking people on there.
Oh, wow. Who is that?
Jordan.
Oh, hey, Jordan.
Okay. So
XRG Rage finally found this back to what I said before. I don't know who
Mm.
XRG Rage is.
All right. Why am I
Who are
going
you,
there?
XRG Rage?
Okay, so we are going to play this video clip.
That sounds so familiar.
The video is titled
No.
Pregnant Mom.
you're playing the video.
Yeah, I'm going to play it.
Okay.
It's just automatically doing it.
Sob.
Pregnant mom shot to death by biker after road rage incident. I feel like it's really fitting that we just did these damn energy shots, and now we're about to react to this
Yeah.
with road rage.
Oh, your combination.
There's an advertisement. Hold up.
Get YouTube Premium
Yeah.
for $6 a month.
Yelled and started driving next to the librarian.
Sound check.
She in turn bumped into the bike. You can hear the panic in Sarah
Sound
Morales' voice as the bikers follow her to her home outside Orlando.
I'm being followed by 3 men to my home. I told them to leave me alone and they won't stop following me. They're following me to my house right now, actually. She's yelling at them to go away, leave her alone.
Sarah's mom, Doreen, remembers her daughter running inside the house and grabbing a gun.
She was probably thinking, if they see I have a gun, they're going to back off.
When she came back outside, the bikers say Sarah pointed her gun at them. One biker opened fire. You can hear the gunshots on the 911 call.
Require me to
Sarah was hit 3 times in the stomach and chest.
shot. My daughter was shot. Who shot her? One of the motorcycle drivers. She's pregnant. Dear God, she's pregnant.
Inside the house, Sarah's 11-year-old daughter Gianna was also on with 911.
I heard my mom screaming, and one of the dudes pulled a gun, and I'm just really scared. This is where she went down, right here.
Sarah's mom says there was nothing anyone could do. She lost too much blood.
Get on the ground!
When police arrived, they put the biker identified as Andrew Durr in handcuffs.
That girl tried to kill me. She put it
Okay.
I'm so sorry. She tried to kill me.
He claimed he shot the pregnant librarian in self-defense. He has not been charged. For Sarah's mom, that's a tough pill to swallow.
That just breaks my heart. It doesn't make much sense to me.
The biker did have a legal permit to carry a concealed weapon.
So actually, Jared said in the comments, he said, I've seen this one before, and I hate to say it, but she played herself.
Yeah, so I do want to point out for everybody, like, in case you didn't hear the video well, but a few things happened. She, as a road rage incident, she hit him first. He was on a bike. She's in a car. They rolled up next to her, probably cursing her out, telling her to pull over as she drove away. Then she hit him again with the car. Probably not hard enough to put him down, but regardless, hit him. And then they got on the bikers, called the police, got on the phone, told them that they were following her. She called the police, told them that there was bikers following her, and then immediately went in her house, grabbed a gun, came out, pointed it at him, and then got shot. Right. So, but yeah.
So I know Wade used to ride, I used to ride, and from my perspective as a rider, there's two trains of thought there for me. Is that either they were riding like assholes or she just wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And I mean, as somebody who has been in both situations, I'm riding like an asshole and I get mad because somebody cuts me off. But on a bike, you're so small, and if you're going so fast, insert any speed really that's over the speed limit. If somebody's doing 50 and you're doing 60 and it's 45, you're coming up on them pretty quick.
Right.
So there could have been a situation, in my personal opinion, where they might have been coming up quick, or she might have been on her phone looking at something and not seeing them. I've been in that position before, and that pisses me off when somebody's on their phone. But also, I get mad when somebody cuts me off and I'm speeding. But I'm also like, man, in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I am speeding. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but then getting to the point of following, so I've never been one to be like, fuck that guy, I'm following him home, I'm going to get their info. I've been in a lot of group rides. We talked about this before, and I've been in a lot of group rides. And usually what happens is if somebody else gets hit or somebody does get hit and that person just takes off, there's people with cameras, and if these guys didn't have cameras, try your best to get tags. I can usually remember the last three, especially in a heated moment like that. I can get tags, and then you can call the police. But I think in both situations, the riders and the driver were wrong. I don't think she should have gone.
I mean, I think that's the consensus that them both were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing I look at too. So one, yeah, you were talking about maybe you were being dumb and you got hit. But if you pull up next to them and then they smack you again,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
so
okay, now, yeah, it's 100% road
And
rage.
Rage brings up a good point. He says if you point a gun at somebody, you better intend.
Yeah, absolutely.
yes.
You're just brandishing a firearm.
Yeah,
and that's
But
also-
from I said, well, let's look at it from a car guy perspective, right? Let's say I'm driving in my Porsche. Now I'm safer in my Porsche. Let's say Miss Lady hits my Porsche, right? That's easily $5,000 in damage if you dent my rear bumper,
Yeah.
right? And you drive away. I'm driving a car that will absolutely follow you,
Yeah.
right? And maybe they find her. Maybe my deductible's $1,000, and now I have to pay it out of pocket, and then my car costs. Then I have a wreck on my hands when I have to do that, and then now we're looking at my car being $10,000 less because it's a high-end sports car. So from my perspective, I would very well follow your ass because I want you to not only pay for the insurance, but also be in court for paying what I'm going to lose out on the car if I ever sell it. As a car guy, I'm going to follow him. Is it the right thing to do? No. And do I have lack trust in the law enforcement? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I've seen it way too many times where people hit and run, and then the guy that got hit stops, and then they never find the person that hit him.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think that, the lady, it sounds like the lady was in the wrong because one, she hit somebody and then kept going, and then hit somebody again and then kept going.
Yeah.
And then obviously she might have been feeling threatened at the time because there's like a group of fucking dudes on bikes, you know what I mean? So that's probably like an intimidation thing for her. So she goes home, grabs a gun, comes out, and you you should be intending to use your firearm if you're brandishing your weapon.
Yeah, you should have the intent.
Yeah. But at the same time, I have done a ride along with Newport News Police before, and this same exact type situation happened where this guy was following this lady. It was like 2:00 in the morning. This guy was following this lady. She called the police. The dispatchers told her to go, to her house. Police were on the way to her house for her to stay in her vehicle the entire time. We got up there to her house, and this guy was literally behind her car in her driveway. The cop got out, and he was drunk as hell. But you would think that the dispatchers in that situation would have told her, stay in your car, keep driving around, give us some landmarks, let us, communicate with the police at the same time and intervene that way. But obviously that didn't happen. It might have should have happened to prevent, somebody from dying. It's crazy.
Like my coworker said, right? So my coworker said, why the hell did she go outside?
Yeah.
You
stay
in your fucking house.
Yeah.
At that point, that lady knew she was in the wrong. She had to, right? You're like, no, get the fuck away from me. I'm not dealing with this shit.
And we're in Florida.
We're in Florida.
They have guns. People carry around guns like crazy,
right?
There.
It might as well be Texas. So
anyway,
but why would you go outside? Okay. And my coworker made a good point, right? They said, you can have your gun. You can have your gun ready, pointed at the door. If they walk through that door, blast them, right?
Yeah.
Then they're in the wrong.
But if there's castle doctrine in Florida, so that would be a feasible thing.
Right. But to go outside, and if you look at the video, this is where not seeing the videos of them, they were off the property. Yeah. They were away from the house. So she went out, approached them, and he said, fuck that, and just took them out.
Yeah.
Now, what I didn't tell you guys was this was a video from last year. Okay. And they came out with the news on what ended up happening.
Yeah.
So he did not get charged at all. Got found not guilty and was acting in self-defense.
Yeah. I mean,
per Florida.
In my personal opinion, sorry, Tyler. But in my personal opinion, I'm a gun owner. I can still carry. If somebody pulls a weapon on me, I am 100% going to feel obligated to pull my weapon.
Oh, absolutely.
At that point in time, my life is in danger because these people have a weapon pointed at me. Yeah. Especially in areas like where we live, Newport News, Hampton,
P-Town.
There's a lot of violent gangs that reside here. So if somebody's pointing a weapon at me in any aspect, especially a gun, I watched a guy get shot in downtown Hampton about a year ago. Actually, October would be a year. And Tyler and I, we were together. We were going to go to a concert on a Thursday night. And this guy got shot by 3 perpetrators. And instead of going to the concert, we spent all night with the police.
Yeah.
And he got shot because he was acting ignorant because he was drunk. He was unarmed and just got shot. Gang violence stuff. And seeing that happen in a fairly decent area of Hampton, and I know that's kind of like a reach, saying a fairly decent area of Hampton. But seeing that happen was, one, it's traumatizing. 2, it made me realize, man, I really should be cognizant of my surroundings. And I used to be somebody who, somebody cuts me out. I'm like, oh man, fuck this guy, I gave him the finger. But now I'm a little more cautious about that. I'm a dad. I got a house. I got all this stuff going on. I don't want somebody to get mad that I gave them the finger, and next thing I know, they follow me home and they pull a gun.
Right.
And then I'm in a situation where I have to use lethal force. I don't want to be in that situation. And if I came home because somebody's following me, I'm not going to walk out of the threshold of my door to confront them if I know the police are already on the way.
Right.
If the police are already on the way, I'm going to say, all right, cool, I'm going to chill here. When the cops show up, that they're going to come and do their job. A lot of people say, oh man, I hate the police. I like them in a standpoint of a civil matter like that. Let them show up, let them handle it, let them talk to the biker, let them talk to the woman, and then it doesn't get to a point where somebody dies. You know what I mean? Now, if somebody busts down the door, you bet your bottom dollar everybody in this house is going to be protected because I'm going to be posted up at a wall, and I'm going to be a line of sight on that door, and that person who just busted in my front door is getting laid the fuck out.
Yeah.
But that's coming in the threshold of my house. Go on.
Road rage, man, is crazy because I dealt with what became road rage. Me and my buddy were at a 7-Eleven, and my buddy had said something to this guy who was walking out of the store. And just a friendly manner, he was really drunk, make sure we're getting back to the house, and he had said something that was how should I put this? Is
A little off.
yeah. And the guy didn't take too much liking to it, so I told, hey dude, I said, I'm so sorry. I told the guy, I said, hey man, I'm so sorry. He's drunk. Let's just leave it alone. I apologize, right?
Yeah.
I had to roll the window up. We left, and then I kind of watched the guy, pulled out. Next thing you know, he followed us, and he was like, pull over right now, like blah blah blah, like we're gonna sell this out, dude. He wanted to fight.
Yeah.
He wanted to fight because of what he said, and my friend totally meant it like friendly, like, hey, what up, like just being drunk.
Yeah.
And he followed us, and I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but we kind of like pulled over.
Oof.
And
Nope.
we actually saw the guy.
Faster.
I watched the guy reach into his side of his seat, and I said, nope, and I took off. The guy followed us.
I'd have called the police.
It was all because of
A comment. Yeah.
just a simple comment. And
What did he say?
He was ready.
Are you allowed to say it or no?
So I can say it, but I don't want to get like into the whole racial debate. But yeah, it was definitely a racial thing.
Well, that'll do it.
He took it to a very extreme.
Jared said, so with everything that's going on, get more controversial, Roe v. Wade just got repealed. Jarrett said in our comments, imagine if they dropped all of the possible charges for murder, but they charged him for committing an abortion in a state where it is illegal.
I'm not even touching this.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to touch on that. It is
Not even touching it.
a train of thought that I didn't even process at the time, but at the time when that happened. I mean, so, and I feel like because of her actions, the child that was inside of her, and now her other daughter,
Now has no mother.
has no mother because of the rash actions she took to. And if they weren't,
It's sad, man.
Yeah, I mean, even the biker said, like on the article that I read, the secondary article, he was like, this just my life will never be the
It
same.
wasn't. I don't think he was intending to ever shoot the girl at all.
Absolutely not.
Until she came out with a gun. Then you're like, well, fuck, man.
Yeah.
What do you do? It's like guys that go to war and they got kids over there with AK-47s pointing at. I mean, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel like shit, but like it's either you or me, man.
I mean, we've seen the movies. Yeah.
I mean, you think about Chris Kyle. I mean, he had
Dude.
to sit through a situation. Like
Exactly. Yeah, man.
There's a
Those are
lot. There's a
some-
lot of. There's a
yeah.
lot of like you don't think of it at the time, but then
Later on when you get home?
like for me, when I broke down what like at the time when I watched the guy get shot in downtown Hampton, I was like, my way of coping with things is through humor, whether it's dark humor or whatever, but to like alleviate my brain from the trauma that I just watched. Because it wasn't like we were sitting there and like we heard gunshots. I was like being the nosy neighbor. I heard people arguing outside. I got there and the guy was like yelling at me, and I was like, "Hey man, look, whatever, just leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna go do my thing." He's like, "Yeah man, fuck you." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm not gonna hold any hard feelings." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go hang out with my buddies." I had my gun with me, and I was concealing. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I heard more yelling outside. So I was like, man, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette because at the time I smoked. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and watch this. And I know Pino, if you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Pino's more in tune with his emotions. So when this whole situation went down, I was outside smoking a cigarette.
I was taking shit.
He was in the bathroom taking shit. So like, he's always taking shit when shit like this goes on. And Pino was like standing behind me in the glass slider. And like, I had come inside to smoke a cigarette. I was like, man, I really hope like this diffuses. And we're like watching everything unfold. This silver car pulls up. 4 dudes get out. One of them's got an AK. One of them's got a 45. One of them's got a 9.
God damn.
I talked to the cops after we got back, and I was like, "Hey man, can I get my car to like go home? I got work tomorrow. It's Thursday night. I got work tomorrow, Friday morning." And
They pulled up like a SWAT team.
yeah, and they all got out of this car. One guy was posted up in somebody's truck bed. Another guy was posted up on like a mound. Another dude was posted up at the silver car. And
These are the gangbangers?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they just unloaded on this one guy. And like immediately after that, like the subsequent like week or two after that, there were like 5 or 6 really horrific shootings out here because the guy that they shot was in the Bloods, and the guys who shot him were gang's disciples, and then it turned into this like whole territory like gang war type thing. And like at the time for me to cope with that, I was like Papa Joe, oh man, could you imagine like my car got shot because I had just bought the car, like literally the month before that I bought the car, the blue one that's in the driveway. I bought the car. I was like, oh, cool, new car, feeling good. It gets good gas mileage, like the whole thing. I'm like, I'm like ready to go to this EDM concert. I'm like popping jokes and stuff like that. I'm like, well, looks like we're not going to the concert, boys. And like, Pino's crying. Tyler's like, I was taking shit. And Kyle's like, all right, get him off the pavement so the blood doesn't soak in. Like, I remember like a group who's like picking him up, putting this body. And like we're sitting around this mangled corpse with like bullet holes all through him. He's like missing this whole part of his face.
Jesus.
Horrific stuff.
Yeah.
And like basically what I'm getting at here is like in a situation where it's like life or death, you don't know how that's going to affect you in the long run or how that's going to affect you in that moment in time. Like everything, when your life's on line, everything's split-second decisions. We heard the gunshots, we hit the ground. Then we ran outside, we saw the dude laying there. We're like, all right, we got to go save him. Military first responder. There's no first responder on the scene, so we run out to see if we can save the guy's life. And we're standing over this dead body, and we're like, well, we can't do anything. He is dead. People are like, oh my God, he's twitching. But like, what you learn from all your training is like, that's a natural body reaction. You know what I mean? So like, I'm looking at him like, there's literally nothing you can do. And even if we could have saved him, he probably would have been a vegetable for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
damn.
To go on with the video and everything, like there's so many things behind the scene that not even like the police and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was just a news report.
Yeah, that was just a news report. I mean, not to get conspiracy theory, but like there's a lot of things behind the scene that you don't really see.
Oh yeah.
They tell you like the story could be kind of twisted. We're only getting second-hand conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he was innocent. So,
Yeah. All the evidence that was presented.
I'm sure that there was a lot of digging.
Yeah.
For the next, I think it was 5 months.
Yeah, I was just saying, the buddy never got the dings out of the fight.
He made sure to have his neons on.
His
bike got the neon lights.
Imagine you kill somebody and you claim insurance on it.
Yeah,
They had insurance.
They had insurance.
They had insurance.
You'd be a real shitbag for doing that. You're like, man, fuck the bike. Like, I can't believe this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that whole thing was an unfortunate thing. I mean,
In the end.
if I was her, and she, oh man, I don't even know if I'd have pulled the gun out, but like, damn.
I wouldn't have
That shit
left, like I
escalated.
said, I wouldn't have left my house. Even in my most heated moments, I wouldn't, like, if somebody's like, I remember I was driving from Florida to go to Arizona, and this guy in Texas, or Louisiana. I left the gas station, like, I accidentally cut him off, and then he got up next to us, was like, giving me the finger, and I was like, oh, look, man, I'm sorry. And my ex at the time was like, no, fuck you, like, double middle finger up, like, really cussing this guy out. And, like, he was, like, running me into the median in his, like, busted ass 02 Silverado, and I'm in like a 19, like I'm in like just dropped Focus, and like Focus ST. So give me a little credit, you know what I mean? I didn't have turbo, But like, and this dude's like trying to run us off the road, and I like look out the window, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I looked at her and I was like, fucking stop, don't egg him on. Like, what am I gonna do? One, I don't have a weapon because at the time I didn't have any guns. Two, this guy is literally trying to kill us, and you have a baby on the way.
Mm.
Like you are pregnant. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, stop.
What if we found out later on that like the girl in that video that was pregnant was the Cash Me Outside girl? They caught her outside.
They caught her outside.
So speaking of road rage and now tell me if this is appropriate, right? So this is a while ago. I think this is like 2 years ago. I was in my Evo, believe it or not. You ever get at a light that just is pretty quick, right? But and then it's forever till it changes again. So this is a light specifically where Sam's Club is in Chesapeake. All right, if you're making the left over there where the Cracker Barrel is, that light is like always backed up, always long.
Sam's Circle.
Yeah, Sam's Circle. So I'm making a left like I'm going where Cracker Barrel is.
Yeah.
And there was a lady in front of me that was like not paying a lick of attention.
Yep.
So like all the cars would go, and not even all the cars would get, but like some of the cars would go because the light's short, and then she would just.
That happened to me today.
So I'm like, and we hit 3 lights, and the third light we would have made it if she would have gone. Yeah. And I was like, I swear to God, if she doesn't go on this goddamn light. and I think I was with my girlfriend, and I was like, I'm gonna hit her. I'm gonna tap her car if she doesn't go. And you know what I did? I got real close, and the light turned green, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking hit her. Gunk. And I just enough, like, just to move her car forward.
Yeah.
Not, I wouldn't have scratched the Evo, like it was fine. I just pushed it, and she's like hitting the brakes, and she gets out of the car.
And you missed the light again.
That light was fucked, you know? And she was just like,
You did this.
I didn't say anything. I just looked at her like, is she gonna figure it out? Like she wasn't sure if I hit her or not. I don't know. She was genuinely confused.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
And she just looked
Ain't right.
and just got back in her car. And I was like, damn, well, she better fucking go for this light.
Yeah, really. So you missed the light 4 times.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
She gonna stare at that light.
yeah, I was gonna say, there's a light in town that is actually, well, no, so there's 2 instances on my way back to the house that, and I was trying to get over to make it into the turn lane, exit 5. I'm sure you came from Chester.
That
so you know
one
what
was an
I'm talking about.
NPC.
Yeah, facts. Facts. That one was definitely an NPC. And this guy, so exit 5, it's kind of a really sharp turn because you have it splits off. Either you go down to Jefferson or it turns around to go to the shipyard. And I was on the phone with him, and I was like, I instantaneously got mad. This guy rammed his brakes on. It's raining. He rammed his brakes on to almost a complete stop to get on the ramp and blocked the area where I was trying to get in and rammed. And I was like, I missed my exit, and that instantly set my tone for driving home of just straight anger. And I was like, this fucking guy obviously should not have a fucking license, and I'm just teeing off, and he got the whole thing.
Well, no, one time my car got towed at my place of employment.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Luckily, he
At
was
Hampton Shipyard?
no Newport News Shipyard.
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law. Hey, same thing.
Really?
Yep.
He's been towed.
Yep.
So,
He gets off work and he's like, "Where's my car?"
dude, that's what happened to me. I got out and I'm
Do
like,
I not know where I parked
I
it?
said, God damn it! Got my fucking
and I
car.
picked you up, and the guy
Right.
was crashing.
Well, see, so look, this dude lives 2-3 minutes away from the yard. I called him up. I said, hey man, I hope you're home and not busy because I need a favor.
I was literally about to pull in my neighborhood, and then he was like, I need a favor. I was like, all right, cool. So I flipped him.
I need you to come scoop me up from the yard and take me to Pete's Towing, which is literally right around the corner
It's
from here.
literally
You can probably see it from the backyard.
Yeah, if you look out that window, you can see the drum.
I
So
hope my car's
it is.
Yeah.
So he comes and picks me up, and we get in the car and we get out onto James River Ridge Road or whatever it is, Ridge Road. And this fucking car is getting on the highway or getting on the road, and it just darts across almost all 4 lanes and almost hits his car. And I'm sitting in the passenger side. I'm like, oh shit, this motherfucker goes complete ape shit. I mean,
so mad.
For literally the entire fucking time after that, all the way until he dropped me off at Pete's Towing to get my car, I was just letting him go. You know what I mean? Because I agree. People around here, man, they're crazy. They really don't know how to fucking drive. They really do just dart across all 4 lanes without looking. And
You know how you're in
he had to slam his
Philadelphia
brakes.
is when you almost die 3 times
I believe that.
because they are crazy.
Well, between driving and getting shot at the same time.
like downtown
Yeah.
Philly though, those roads are
Oh, dude.
Woo!
Philly
Yeah,
is
that's
crazy.
You know what place is wild to drive in? New York City. Oh god, I hate driving. in New
Oh
York
man,
City.
I got to drive my Civic. I was doing about
5 miles
60,
an hour.
no, about 65, 70 miles an hour with a 370Z in front of me and a big ass Chevy Suburban in front of him, and we were just hauling ass, blowing through the red lights and everything, man. And we finally get to a stoplight we can't stop at, and I'm sitting there. This was my first time ever driving in New York City. We're sitting there, and 4 fucking people on bicycles fly right by me, in between the cars next to me and my fucking side mirror, and they're door dashing and all this bullshit. And I'm like, dude, what? And people are walking across the street, and I'm like, why are we driving like this? They're really, I am gonna kill somebody because nobody looks across the road. They're all like, yeah, pedestrians got right away. They don't even look at all, man, and it is so crazy. New York City is wild.
Well, you guys want to switch topics a bit?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you guys mentioned it last time. I know you talked about talking about it, but switching to
the tinfoil hat.
You
stole your hat.
That's fun.
Switching to the cosmic world.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up because every time I do, this guy gets pissed.
So did we talk about the telescope, the new telescope?
To the James Webb Telescope.
Did you guys talk about it on the last one?
Briefly.
I think last time we talked about the particle accelerator that's literally in town.
Well, there's one here, and then there's one in Switzerland, the CERN program, and then there's Jefferson Lab.
So I find the telescope super interesting.
Me too.
Um,
Tyler, you feeling good in there? Pissing out all that energy drink?
He said, "Oh yeah."
While we're taking a brief break for Tyler, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We go live every weekend, every Saturday at 8 o'clock.
Tyler's aunt said his uncle said to shave his face. It's awful.
So where I was getting with this was the telescope talks about how what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now we're looking at things that we saw with the Hubble, right? The Hubble, that now just shows crazy imagery, like switching your camera, right?
Yeah.
Like,
With the infrared technology
Right,
that the
right.
James Webb Telescope possesses.
So my question is, kind of conspiracy alien based, but like, what do you think we're going to find with the new
So
telescope?
something I heard about that telescope is they're aiming it at like these dark spaces that we previously thought they were dark because the Hubble wasn't advanced enough to see the light coming from there. And something that I heard is that they're seeing other galaxies out there. And what I think they're going to pick up, this is actually a really good topic. What I think they're going to pick up is, I don't think they're going to see like other civilizations, but maybe they're going to pick up something. I'm hoping if they aim it somewhere like a little bit closer with a resolution that it hopefully has, we'll be able to see like maybe they'll be like, oh, what is this like little tiny orbiting object around this planet? And then somebody will be like, oh shit, that's a satellite. That's a space station or something like
Well,
that.
see, they're already finding stuff like that with on ground telescopes. That's how they know that there's like already other planetary systems out there in our own galaxy.
Yeah.
But they're finding like what's going on.
It's coming to the beard.
We're finding when the James Webb Telescope is super high tech. It costs like what, 20 billion or something like that, some crazy shit, and it has the technology to see infrared light that we can't see with the naked eye whatsoever, and it's seeing all these. Last week it found a galaxy that was like 200 billion light years away. Like,
It was far.
That's crazy.
it's unbelievable. Like, if we could travel at the speed of light, it would still take 200 billion fucking years to get there. Like that.
And by the time you got there, it might be dead.
Now, what I really thought about
because it's in the past.
we think about aliens, right? But how long has Earth been around, right? How long has Earth been around? It's been around for forever. So now what they did do with the telescope is they were looking for galaxies, and they were looking for the pattern galaxies that were shaped out like our solar
Like the
system.
Milky Way.
So what they did was they went, okay, here's a sun. This many millions of or hundreds of thousands of miles away. Here is their equivalent of,
The Goldilocks zone for Earth.
right. So you saw that, right? They're looking for the Goldilocks zone of Earth, and they're finding some of that. But it's actually still very minimal, right? Like they're like looking at hundreds and thousands of galaxies and planetary things, and they're going, oh, out of the 2,000 we just looked at, there's one. The 10,000 we just looked at, there's 4. And they're going, okay, there's possible life there. Possible. But then we got to look at it, and I think of it as Earth's been around for a hot minute. How long did we actually have life on Earth before we had humans, like civilization? So, like, sure, could it have organisms? Absolutely. And I think actually what we see in when they were looking at some of the other solar systems, they were looking at planets really far away with like negative 200,000 temperatures. But because of the atmosphere in that planet, it could inhibit water.
So, and like something that's interesting is like we watched. This is gonna kind of derail a little bit, but we watched Predator, or the new movie Prey, the Predator movie, the other night, and for whatever reason, after we finished the movie, I'm sitting there dropping the deuce, and I'm like, man, let me read about the Predator civilization. I went through this whole like lore on what they are, and like to some extent, and I think of it like these other potential life forms. They don't need to be in the sweet spot that we're in. The sweet spot that we're in
is for us.
For us.
Yeah.
Right.
But these, think of deep sea creatures. They live in -degree temperatures where water's still fluid because of all the pressure and yada, yada, yada. There could be an organism out there that already has, light speed, space flight, and all this other shit. And they thrive in these cold environments or these super hot environments, and something like Earth could be detrimental to their health, and they have to wear like spacesuits, and they could be planning eventually to come here because they're like, oh shit, another sentient being, another sentient race that hasn't quite achieved what we've achieved. Either they can be hostile, or B, they could be, coming to like spread knowledge or something like that to an extent, and they just haven't got the technology to adapt to our environment yet. And then if they do, they can show up and like try to communicate, but there'd be like a language barrier or something. If you're curious about that ticking noise, my computer fan is just all fucked up. But I think there is a level of like, we're looking for like humanoid-esque species, but there could still be some sort of humanoid-esque species that lives closely with
just like here on Earth, like everything is based out of carbon, right? We're looking for others, planets that have carbon-based material for life, but it doesn't necessarily have to be carbon.
Yeah, I actually think that the Hubble, like my theory is like the Hubble is going to find planets that we would not expect to inhabit life that probably have water or have some type of organism to them. And I don't know if you know the specifications, but the Hubble looked at like the nebula or whatever, and what took the Hubble looked at the nebula, and then the James what's it called?
Webb.
The James Webb looked at the same thing. The Hubble took like 14 months or something like that, right? Was it 14 months, or am I thinking 14 days?
I'm not sure.
It was a really long time, right? It was a really long time looking at the same thing. And the Hubble did it in like a few hours.
The James Webb.
The James Webb did it in a few hours. So it really opens up our ability to like go, we want to look at that. And
we want to look past the stuff that we can't really see because it's hazy. So they use different light signatures to.
But it just lessens the time because you got to think the Hubble took so long. So could we really focus on certain things?
I don't remember the movie, but there's a movie based on a black hole. I mean, tell me if you know, like you come with the idea, but somebody was like, man, that black hole is not accurate. But when they spin the image a certain way,
Interstellar,
yeah, when they spin the image a certain way,
it's from the side.
Yeah. So what we're looking at on this black hole that they used in Interstellar is actually it just rotated about 180 degrees or something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's on its side.
We're seeing the side of it where there's like this big mass of gravity's like moving around it, and you have this like bright ridge. You don't have this. What we're seeing on that bright ridge is the event horizon, but when they turn it to the side, you're seeing the event horizon from a different location. And I think something like that is an interesting thing because we're picking it up at a completely different angle. So we could be upside down in space right now. We wouldn't fucking know. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of looking at things differently, right? I actually haven't seen a lot about these people have figured out an idea on how they actually made the pyramids. And there's two
down the rabbit
hole.
Yeah. This kind of bring it to earth, right? There's two different ones, and one is that they used wet sand.
Okay.
Yeah, they used water and sand.
I think that's just I haven't looked into it, but I'm pretty sure it's a Google away. But I'm pretty sure I think they're all close to the Nile or something, and that was I think you're right.
But there's also these great big giant stone structures inside of these things that weigh more than what we have as capabilities to lift right now. Like we'd have to have like four heavy duty cranes to get these things lifted up.
Have you ever watched like yesterday? I watched one of those videos of the two dudes that spent 4 months building their own freaking house in the ground with a pool.
Oh yeah, down in South America or some shit.
I think it's a host, by the way. They have a whole crew, but yeah, we're going on.
Okay, but but let's just say that whoever it is can build. It looks like very minimalistic tools they're using.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but we're looking at minimalistic tools. And if we think about it, big rock structure, but what's to say they didn't chip it into a circle and then drag it with camels?
And then knock the circle down.
Because man, the weight of these structures,
and then knock it back into the shape.
I don't
or underground.
I just
yeah,
don't-
this was the other theory. The other theory was that it was actually an underground building, like an underground system, but because of over time and sand, you know how sand in the desert fucking moves, it moved away.
I very much doubt that.
I doubt it too.
Yeah, but
It's kind of
it was
cool
still a
theory.
theory, yeah.
Or then you have
Or the
Kanye-
number one theory is that
Kanye
alien
says-
civilization came down here and gave them some tools to use. Yes, 100%. Because we can't even lift the shit right now with cranes that we got.
There's a lot that we don't know.
Hell yeah. But there's a lot that we can believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot we can believe.
And
Have you seen aliens?
Yeah.
Have you seen something crazy?
Have I seen something
Yeah.
crazy? I haven't seen aliens. Now we're getting on the story of things. I've seen spirits. So,
Okay.
so I'm gonna
Ooh.
break down my rabbit hole of like life experiences. So when I lived here in Norfolk, when I was a kid, we lived in a house right behind Janus Shopping Center. If you're familiar with that area. And apparently the grandfather had died in the house or whatever. Not a super old house or anything. I think those houses were built in the 70s or 60s. So we're in there, and I'm all of probably 8, right? So no making this up for Patrick. It didn't just come out of nowhere. But at one point, I was losing my teeth. You know, baby teeth were coming out, and I'm sleeping in my bed. And my mom had just went in my bedroom and took my tooth out from under there. Surprise, the tooth fairy's not real.
I was about to say, like, I thought you were going to start talking about you saw the tooth fairy.
I did.
Oh, shit.
So now I thought as a kid I saw the tooth fairy. Now I wake up and I see this bright glowing orb that just passes through my room out the window. And in my bedroom, we had a what do you call it? Like a stairwell casing that looked down into the living room, right? And the main door was right there. So it looked like I raced after it. I saw it. I woke up and I went, oh, and I got surprised. I ran after it. And my mom had just hooked the corner, like from taking my tooth away. And this glowing orb just went, and then right through the door. And I was like, whoa. And then my mom comes and turns around and she goes, you're awake? And I go, yeah. And she's like, what's going on? I was like, I saw the tooth fairy. And my mom's like, you saw the tooth fairy? And I explained it in like very detail. And my mom was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the hell? But my mom has also seen stuff like that. So she wasn't thinking I was crazy. She was just like,
Really intrigued.
really intrigued. And my mom also saw that stuff when she was like breastfeeding me. She told me in the day she like breastfed me and like would see like this orb over her and it fly away. I actually caught a picture when I was out that had like a glowing orb. I was in at the zoo in Norfolk, and I was in the bamboo area when they used to have a really heavy bamboo area, and we took a photo. Now cameras, I don't know, it could have been wrong, but it looked like a glowing orb over my head. And it's still in the photo, you know, and but aside from that, it even goes further, right? So I didn't just have these one single experiences. My mom told me when she was pregnant with my sister, so I was all of like 6 years old, I told her I was like saw a spirit over her. And I told my mom that I like go in there. I used to sleep in my parents' bedroom, and I was like, Mom, I saw like somebody like in front of the bed and like holding your belly. And my mom had my sister the next day. And yeah, it was crazy.
They would
So-
say like little kids are more susceptible, and like elderly people and little kids are more susceptible to seeing like spirits and stuff like that.
So to go on, now I am all of like 9 at this time.
Yeah.
So I'm 9 years old, and it was the first time my parents left me alone, and so they leave me alone at the house, and we had 3 floors upstairs. We had like a formal living room, kitchen, and then the den.
Yeah.
And I'm in my I'm down there watching Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
right? All by myself in the house.
Shout out to Nickelodeon.
And I hear 3 knocks, and I'm like,
Ooh, oh no.
my mom is.
Oh no.
My mom told me not to answer the door, but so I go upstairs and I peek open the window and no one's there. So okay, that's weird. Go back downstairs. 5-10 minutes later. Okay, go back upstairs, peek through the window. No one's there.
Yeah.
Get back downstairs.
Yeah.
Look through the window.
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck? And I'm standing at the door. I'm not opening it. I'll never open it, right? Mom told me not to open it. But I'm standing at the door, looking through the window, and I hear from behind me. Now, behind me was a bare wall
Hell no.
that goes up to the staircase. And I just freaked out, right? Freaked out, went downstairs, had a blanket, covered myself up with a blanket, called my mom. Mom!
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. And my mom goes, oh, shit. And I'm like, what? And my mom's like, it's okay. It's a good spirit. Just tell it to go away.
Nah, I heard.
I
otherwise.
straight tell you that's what my mom told me. And I was like, okay. And she's like, it's okay. We'll be home soon.
Oh my
And
It's like
god.
the other night here. We were downstairs playing pool in the garage because we had the pool table house. And we heard footsteps like walk from the back of the house to the front. And I was like, what the hell? And my son's here, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and check it out. And he is out like a light. And I'm like checking everywhere in the house. Nobody but him and I are here, and my son's asleep. And then I come back downstairs, and he's like, you heard that, right? And I was like, yeah, nobody's here. I heard exactly what you're talking about, like the footstep thing. And I was like, Just kind of wrote it off, you know. I was like, it's probably just the cats or whatever.
Thunder or
Thunder.
something.
I was like, thunder, cats, like trying to make rap.
Thundercats. Oh.
so to go on with it, I yell out, I scream out, I go, stop! No more for the night. At all.
And Rich said nothing can hurt you if you're under a blanket.
Exactly. And so it goes away. It goes away completely. Now my mom comes back and we talk about it like the next day. And my mom's like, "It's okay. We have a spirit in the house. It's right where you think it is. It only does it when you're alone." And it knocks 3 times. And I was like, "Okay, Mom."
Yeah.
Well, my mom was very. She knew how to like make me feel about it. She wasn't making me feel crazy. And my mom was 100% like to this day. She's like, yeah, been there. And what got me was my dad told me. And my dad's the shit. And my dad was like, oh yeah, that thing, yeah, that knocks 3 times.
The thing that knocks 3 times that we can't explain.
Yeah, just tell it to go away.
Yeah.
So now, what do you do when you feel comfortable with something?
You try to talk to it.
Right,
Hell
right.
yeah.
So not the second time I was home alone. The second time I was home alone,
You were
I was
in
scared
there.
of shit. Said, no, go away. Third time I was like, no, still scared. Go away. 4th time, now we're pushing the buttons. So I know where it comes from. Right. So I'm like, all right, confident.
If you're real, hit it again 3 times.
So I like go up there. It started doing the knock thing. Go up there, and I'm shaking. Right, you're like,
Yeah.
die. And it knocks, and I just get closer and closer, and I'm like, it wasn't consistent, right? By any means, and didn't really react to me talking, like didn't do anything. I tried. I was like, knock, and it wouldn't. And it would be very irregular. And like I ended up like putting my hand on the wall, like knocking the wall, and it like did the knockback, and I freaked out and I cried, and then I ran downstairs. But I was like, oh, that was like the last time, and we moved soon after when I was like 11. We moved
And you were
to
like,
Tennessee.
thank God.
But yeah, it was really intense.
That Amazon delivery driver is an asshole.
So I'll tell you my last experience right now. My last ever experience in my life. So moved to Tennessee. Now, I would say I was a sensitive kid. Now, you can believe in medians or not, but my grandfather passed away at like 12, or when I was 12. And I wasn't super close to my grandparents, and they lived literally 5 minutes from where I live currently. But this was back when I was 12, moved to Tennessee, and I started like hearing my grandpa talk to me in my bedroom. Like legitimate things. Like he would be like, "Hey, tell Ann this." Like I was a median. Like no shit you like. And I would tell my mom these things, and that was when my mom was like, "Oh, that sounds weird." But like I felt possessed one day, not like physically possessed, but I felt obligated to call my great grandmother and tell her what I was told to tell from my grandfather. And so I did, and it just like broke down my great grandmother. like great grandmother, just broke her down, and like she called my mom and was like, the son has the devil. Like she was like, something is going on. And it was so frequent. Like it wasn't just with my grandfather. Like once I got like, I guess you'd say in tune with my grandfather, it was like I was kind of like getting it with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And not trying. It was like I was picking things up and shit, and really legitimately like I was a medium. And so like if Wade had somebody that really wanted that passed in his life and really wanted me to tell Wade something, I would tell him it. And what would be freaky was I would tell people this in middle school. I'm in middle school, right? And I'm already this weird kid in middle school. I'm from the city, talking like a city boy in the country, and I'm telling these people I have no idea because I feel like I have to, that like somebody said something.
Yeah.
And they would just like break down or like get mad at me or something. It would never be offensive, but they would just downright think I'm spying on them, right? And we're talking like barely when MySpace existed. So I don't know jack shit about people. I'm spitballing shit that I should never know.
Yeah.
And it really weighed on me for a while because I was, not only did people like think I was a weirdo, but people were like getting upset, like I was spying on them, or like how does this guy know this? Like, and I felt weird. Like I started getting really uncomfortable about it because I was like, this is a lot to bear. Like sometimes you're telling people like not anything like terrible, but like
just personal shit,
really personal shit. Like
something that you shouldn't know.
Like I'd be like, your dad really liked that cup you got when you were like 10. Like last year, your dad really liked that cup.
But the father,
he never told you. And the father passed away, and they'd be like, the cup, and I'd be like, the cup. And
they're like, how the fuck?
And you could see like the wrinkle on their face and being like, how the fuck does he know about this cup?
Yeah.
Like I gave it for him for his birthday, and he just thinks so, and then that kid's like probably broke down like later on, but now looks at me like a fucking weirdo, because he doesn't understand.
And you probably didn't know. Well, I mean, spirit talk, you knew like the father had passed, but like
and it's not like I said something I could summon on when I was there. I'd be like, let me think about Wade's family. It would just be like someone would be like, hey, let me tell you about this real quick. And like it's just like a whisper in my ear, and then I'd like pass somebody. And I'd be like, hey, are you Jacob? And they're like, yeah. And I'd be like,
who the fuck are you?
And they're like, hey, your sister really appreciated every time you guys played cars, like the toy cars.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, how do you know my sister?
Yeah. And my name.
And like, how do you know my sister? And I'd be like, I don't know your sister. How the fuck do you know I played with cars with her? And I'd be like, that's what I was told. And they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me. Because people get really weird like vibes across it. Some people curse me out.
Yeah.
And so anyway, needless to say, so like I had a really strong growing up with kind of like spiritual stuff, whether it's spiritual or ghostly or whatever you want to call it. But I ended up like going to church and like really actually getting with a pastor and being like, if this isn't holy, take it away. Because I don't need it. If it's not of God, like don't let me bear it. And we prayed and went through like not like a cleansing, but I prayed with the thing, and it's never ever since I've never had any like spiritual like.
That is so crazy.
Wow.
That's my young
There was
wow, dude.
there was actually a time. I had a couple stories. I'm gonna give the one, but I was it's a story from my mom. I don't remember this at all, but it's a story from my mom. My mom has a lot of these because I would say I was also very spiritually connected in a way. And she had told me that she used to play this game with me called Mommy Monster. It was something like a peekaboo game, right? And she said one time I was playing in the playroom and I was playing Mommy Monster. And she came up with me and was like, you playing Mommy Monster? Because that was the only game that, me and her played together, like, just me and her. I was like, yeah, I'm playing Mommy Monster with the girl with the white dress and the white bonnet. She was like, what the fuck? So what the hell are you talking about? Because I mean, she thought I was fucking crazy, right? Okay, got it. So there was that little incident and whatnot, but later on, like you said, my dad was also like that way. He was like, fuck ghosts, right? Until one night, totally different house, totally different, years later, he had woken up one night and was freaked out. He saw a little girl in a white dress and a white bonnet standing at the end of the bed. And he told my mom, and she goes,
Should change her life.
So he's crazy too.
yeah.
Fuck them all.
I was playing mom. We back.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
So it's interesting you say that because like you live here and like sometimes my son will just be like we'll be hanging out down here, playing with each other, and he'll just like point toward the door where the mirror is, and he'll be like ghost, and I'm like, no, there's nothing there, or like he'll be in bed and he'll like wake up crying, I'll like I'll be down here doing bad shit, and like cleaning up after his toys and like all those things. And he'll wake up and he'd be crying a little bit, and like the door that I had previously shut is now open, and he'd be like, he'll tell me to shut like the bathroom door and be like, ghost. I haven't asked my landlord like, hey man, has somebody like died in this house? Because I just don't want to know. But he's like, ghost, and I'm like, no kiddo, it's okay. And like I tuck him back into bed and I make sure he's good, and he's like. And then he gets all comfortable. He's happy that I'm there. The door is now shut again and everything like that. And it's like waiting there. Like I said the other night, we heard the footsteps, and like I couldn't make sense of it. So I was like, that's got to be the thunder.
That shit was weird. Like it was last night.
Yeah, it was last night. We were playing pool and smoking cigars.
Well, what I have to say to that is, I guess my mom, whether or not she was lying or being honest about it, if I was a parent, I would just be like, it's a good ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because until it starts shaking the bottles on the house and breaking shit and trying to scare the fuck out of you, if it ain't doing anything, you're like, oh, it's just a good ghost.
I heard 3 knocks was actually like supposed to be like demonic.
I don't think it was.
Then
You're
again,
like,
I
hello,
watched too
demon,
many
knock, knock.
Poltergeists.
Yeah.
Not 3 times back.
Yeah.
I don't think it was demonic.
And fucking Ouija board though?
Nope.
I never
I
did.
don't want to touch it.
I never touched it. No. Don't ever plan to. Don't ever want to.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't
Oh,
want to.
Jesus.
You want to fuck with a Ouija board one night? Let's do it.
If you guys invite demons into my house,
No, we'll do it out in that parking lot out there.
Yeah.
It's already got demons in it.
the demons of differentials past.
Oh my God,
Okay,
dude.
sidebar from this whole thing. We had this friend. He was like with this. He was with this girl, but she was also with this other guy, and like this other guy's car broke down.
And there was a baby.
There's a baby in the back. Very weird situation, and he's out there swapping a diff on a Mustang in the middle of like the summer at like.
Dude,
11
differential
o'clock at
fluid,
night.
all in the parking lot out there. That MDS parking lot.
Everywhere. There's another same kid had a car slammed on its nuts, cracked an oil pan, leaving after he had just replaced an oil pan on the car from cracking when we went to a sumo speed event, and we pushed the car down Jefferson back into the parking lot, and there's a line for like 5, 6, maybe 7 months. There was just this thick, bright line of oil that just went down the road.
So I think we should get to a closing point.
Yeah, I agree.
It's about like 2 hours, but
Yeah.
with a closing point, I was interested in what your guys' like most hated thing in the car scene, right? Like what you just cannot stand, and then what is your pet peeve road rage? Like what just grinds your gears on the street?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Takeovers. Fucking can't stand takeovers. I think it is a heinous stain on the car scene. It gives this negative outlook. And then my biggest thing with road rage, and they always stereotype the people who do this, but like people who don't use their blinkers in traffic, I get just absolutely mad as fuck.
So I'm also a blinker. I hate when they don't use their blinker, but I also cannot stand when you leave your blinker on.
Yes.
When you're driving, you're like, are they getting over?
Yeah.
And then they make a right turn.
You're like, motherfucker! Like, oh god damn.
Yeah, like, I remember being behind somebody and they had the blinker on and just indefinitely, and I was like, this guy making a fucking left turn around the world. Like, what the fuck? We're in the left lane. You can't go any more left.
But yeah, I
This
think I'm
guy's like,
right
"I'm
on
making
board
a
with you. My pet peeve driving is not using your blinker.
Yeah.
It just
Or those people, like, when I was on a bike, somebody would throw their blinker on. I'm doing like the speed limit. I'm cruising in town, like just cruising around. And somebody throws their blinker on. I am there. I am like I'm in their line of vision, and they're like, the blinker gives me the power, and they just start turning. That also never makes sense. The guy who almost hit us when we were coming back.
Oh, he won't use the blinker either.
Yeah, he didn't throw a blinker on. He just said, "I am God," and started coming in my lane. I should have just kept driving straight, let him hit me, and just fucking gone with the insurance company. Like, damn, my back hurts. I pissed myself and shat my pants. But like, I didn't do any of that. You know, I was just like, man, I like swerved to avoid him, honked my horn, and I was like, this motherfucker, and I like teed off. But what's your biggest pet peeve? With the car scene?
Dude, man, I would have to say with the car scene is when if you post that it's a chill fucking meet, don't come in here and try and fuck it up.
Yeah,
all right, like we're here trying to like respect the fucking scene, you know.
Your Hellcat show though.
Exactly, it's the Hellcats,
It's the fucking
Challengers, all that other fucking shit, you know. And I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and then they just sit there, fucking revving their engine or fucking doing donuts or, you know, trying to do burnouts.
We used to go to 401 Oriana. Remember that? We used to go out there all the time. It was a super empty, vacant parking lot. Everybody could park up, chill, hang out. And then it turned into a thing where everybody's like drifting around these poles and shit.
Yeah, like with freedom, man. That's what ruined freedom.
Yeah.
Like it was all cool and shit until, you know, you see the group of guys roll and they're like, let's fuck shit up. I've been drinking since 1 o'clock.
Somebody said my car pet peeve is just Virginia drivers in general.
I think they need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, Virginia can be bad, but like,
there's
like you said, going to fucking New York or
Jesus.
like, or Pittsburgh or something, and you're like, God, Virginia's nice. Shit. In the road the entire time, it's like this, and then somebody's like, no blinker.
No blinker. Coming over.
You're like, oh God.
Good luck.
I love it. I love it. I'll sit there all day.
Yeah, I know.
My thing with the car scene is people who inquire about photo shoots.
Oh, they say your rates.
And then you're like, yeah, well, you know, I'll do a photo shoot, whatever. And then nothing gets brought up about money, right? And then I'm like, well, just to let you know before we come into this whole fucking thing, like it's gonna be like $150. And they're like, what? And then I'm like, yeah, $150. And then it's, oh well, I mean, I can't do that. That's crazy. That's a lot of money for some pictures and this, that, and the other. And then you're like, okay, well, we're not doing pictures. Meanwhile, their car's got like, you know, $50,000 worth of work to it, you know, and they're like, I mean, you're stressing over 150.
Yeah. I noticed that too. Somebody,
goddamn, dude.
The second I'm like, hey, $40 photo shoots for the weekend because I want to make some quick cash to have fun. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm there. But the second I'm like, hey man, I'll give you 20 to 25 really nice edited photos for, you know, $85, $90. They're like,
that's a little much.
Man, really? I'm like, I'll come to you. You know what I mean? And then what's your biggest pet peeve about drivers?
Everybody.
All right, I can.
Everybody.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Speaking of photos, real quick though, Polaroid, honestly, everyone knows that Polaroids are fucking expensive, so they tip you. I went out there and did like a free kind of like I had like 40 things of film, and I just went out there and I didn't even ask for money. They were like, "Here's $5, here's $10." And I'm like, "All right."
Maybe we're doing it the wrong way.
maybe I need to go invest in a fucking Polaroid.
Well, yeah, get you a little Polaroid, walk down the boardwalk, snap some car pics, catch them at the light, be like, here, dude. If anything, they'll remember you.
Yeah, and then show up with your
Root beer, remember me.
yeah, and then show up with your spray bottle full of water and your newspapers too, and wipe down their windshield at the stoplights.
Jesus Christ.
Well, what is your biggest thing about the car scene?
Biggest thing about the car scene is, I know some people won't agree with this, but I cannot stand super cambered cars.
Well, you're not in the right house, buddy.
You can get the fuck out.
I can't do the camber like this, like
definitely a good spot
the
to end.
stance camber. It's just, it's not practical.
It's not practical at all.
It's terrible on your tires.
Oh, I can speak to all of
And I don't think it looks good, in my opinion. Like the too much is too much.
I was running that
This
14, so, yeah.
good.
And I was running there,
This?
in front.
I like. Well, yeah, if you guys running that much, how? What?
Yeah, there's the practicality.
No, not even the practicality. Like, where are you going?
Straight.
Yeah, you can barely drive on dry pavement. Let it rain outside, and motherfuckers are scared.
We went to Woodbridge in my Mercedes, which had -14 degrees of camber, and it snowed. And it was like the most horrific thing I've ever done. I was putting mild on this car with all this camber, but that's a story for another time.
You know, I went tires like crazy.
Oh, every 2 months I was swapping.
Were you like this?
Negative
15 in the front.
I don't know what negative 15 is. Is it this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this.
Why?
It looks good.
I was
I
literally
think it looks
like-
good. I don't.
I like
The practicality, I understand.
This looks okay.
I understand it has no
That-
spankers. Yeah.
Where there's like that much tire, right?
Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've grown
No tread.
I've grown to be a
Just
really
sidewall.
huge fan of like Corey's camber. He has like negative 3 degrees in the front, which is just enough to get him to tuck. And it's like it looks real sharp in my person. And he runs really meaty tires, so he gets really good contact paths through the corners. So like that is a practical camber.
Right. There's practical. There's drifting practical, but
And then there's just what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it. I like it so much that my daughter's middle name is Camber.
Is it really?
It really is.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Well,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I love it so
I need to
much.
change some things.
I love it so much,
and then
man.
what's your biggest driving pet?
My biggest driving pet peeve is the same thing. It's the blinkers.
Yeah.
Fucking blinkers.
It is really annoying when they have the left turn signal on and then they
It's
start
both.
going right, and I'm
It's
like,
it's the not using them and the freaking just keeping them on. I swear, I get almost to the point of road rage every time it happens that somebody doesn't use their blinker and pulls in front of me, and I'm like, I swear to God, if I was in a faster car than my Kona right now, I would get in front of you and not use my blinker and get in front of you. Like, and I just want to do it every time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
The people who fucking drive slow in the past.
Yeah.
oh yes, that's it.
But
The people that hold up all the
Like, there's a
traffic.
lane for you guys.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Or the two people that sit next to each other and just.
he's teeing off. He's like, I have so much fucking
Dude,
problems with the way people drive.
Okay.
But I think we're at a good point after covering our pet peeves. and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't do street takeovers, please.
No street
It
takeovers.
is
It's
dumb.
it's terrible.
I would support.
Every video you see, somebody's getting hit by a car that's trying to do donuts in the parking
It's
lot.
mostly in Richmond, right? Like, there's a lot.
There was one outside of his old apartment complex.
I mean, I know they exist over here too. So
Yeah, it's just trash.
it's just trash.
But anyway, you want to do a closing statement?
Yeah.
eh?
Hey, it was great having you.
Yeah,
thanks for coming
I'll
on.
shake your hand when I can get past the big ginger man.
Don't squeeze too hard.
Yeah, I don't break my fingers.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. If
Yes,
you're
sir.
watching right now, give us a like, give us a follow, hit that notification bell, and I guess we will see you
Like,
guys next.
subscribe, and
Hit the notification bell. Yeah.
Thanks,
Same
buddy.
thing I just said. Man, are we in a canyon?
just wanted to.
Yeah,
Be sure to tell somebody you love them. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, good night.
See ya.